Chapter 34:29. He didn't want to dodge, but he was fighting with Little One. How could he have the energy to dodge? Besides, even if he wanted to dodge, with the speed of the purple Electric Tempest beast, he might not be able to. Exclamation point. Raging Fire 8 Trigrams Palm, 11th form. Lin Yi quickly activated his strongest martial arts technique. This technique did not have the attack bonus of the Profound Chi necklace, but it was enough to seriously injure the Firewolf War God number 8. Little One, hit him with martial arts. Lin Yi took this opportunity and shouted to Little One. However, Little One looked up at Lin Yi and still used his fist to punch the Firewolf War God number 8. He did not follow Lin Yi's instructions and activated the martial arts technique. This made Lin Yi very speechless. With this kind of fighting style, how many times would it take to kill the number 8 in front of him? Even if the strength was great, it was far worse than a martial arts technique. Originally, Lin Yi could continue to activate the 10th form of the Raging Fire 8 Trigrams Palm, which was equivalent to the 11th form of the Raging Fire 8 Trigrams Palm. He would let the purple Electric Tempest beast attack the Firewolf War God number 5 with lightning. And then Lin Yi would use the 11th form of the Raging Fire 8 Trigrams Palm. Song Lingrui would use her strongest martial arts technique, and Little One would help again. Then, the number 5 would die without a doubt. Lin Yi could recover his and Little Win's strength after that, and it would save some fighting time. But now it seemed that Little One did not know how to activate the martial arts technique. If Lin Yi did not continue to attack, it would still be troublesome when the Firewolf War God number 8 recovered. Helplessly, Lin Yi could only give up on his previous plan. He had to follow the prescribed order. Once again, he struck the Firewolf War God number 8's back with the 10th move of the Frenzied Fire 8 Trigram Palm. Only then did he kill him. However, Lin Yi's physical strength and true chi had already been exhausted. He could see that this puppet avatar looked very powerful, but it was not practical. It did not know any martial skills, but it could be restrained, but to injure the enemy was indeed a bit troublesome. However, this was not the time to think about this. Lin Yi's top priority was to restore his physical strength as soon as possible so that he would have sufficient physical strength to face the last enemy. He frantically entered the space of the Jade Pendant and began to absorb energy, while Little One went to help Song Lingrui. Even though Song Lingrui had Little One's help, she was still not the Firewolf War God number 5. This was because at this moment, Song Lingrui's physical strength was showing signs of exhaustion. The Firewolf War God No. 5 had the upper hand, but he was not happy at all. If it was before, he would have been very excited. However, all the people he brought were dead, and he was the only one left. The Firewolf War God number 5 already had the intention to retreat. It was absolutely impossible for him to bring Song Lingrui away today, so his life was more important. However, with the current situation, could he escape? If it was only Song Lingrui, it was still okay. After all, Song Lingrui's physical strength was beginning to weaken. However, Little One joined the battle, causing the Firewolf War God number 5 to be a little flustered. Besides, there was still Lin Yi watching from his side. He did not know when Lin Yi and his spirit beast would attack. The Firewolf War God number 5 was also very confused. If Lin Yi joined the battle now, he would definitely die. However, Lin Yi did not come. This made him feel that something was wrong, but he could not figure it out and did not have the time to think about it. All his energy was focused on fighting Song Lingrui and Little One. Originally, Song Lingrui was already at a disadvantage. However, with the addition of Little One, very soon, the two of them were suppressing the Firewolf War God number 5. Firewolf War God number 5 complained incessantly. If they knew that there was such a powerful human-beast unity cultivator in the Chinese cultivation world, and that he was the helper of the Song family, they would have asked around before coming. Now, they did not manage to bring Song Lingrui away. They were slapped and slapped by this human-beast unity guy, and 3 of them died. He was puzzled. How could this person be so powerful? Every time, it was a lightning strike from his spirit beast and 2 slaps from his palm. Number 7 and number 8 died. Even if it was a great perfection expert, he had never heard of anyone who could defeat an expert of the same level in 3 moves. However, it happened in front of him, and he had no choice but to believe it. Lin Yi's physical strength and chi were quickly recovering. This time, Lin Yi did not need to rush to recover the purple Electric Tempest beast's physical strength and chi. As long as he used 1 lightning strike and 2 wildfire 8 trigram palms, then Lin Yi would definitely be able to kill the Fire Wolf War God number 5. Little Phone, get ready. Lin Yi instructed Little Phone. Roar, roar, roar. The purple Electric Tempest beast roared 3 times, indicating that it understood. It was also a little excited, knowing that it was facing the last enemy. Its horn began to flicker with electricity again. Hearing the roar of the purple Electric Tempest beast, the Fire Wolf War God number 5 was shocked. He lost his balance and almost fell to the ground. Was it going to start again? My life is over. He knew that Lin Yi would definitely make a move, but he did not know when. Seeing the electric current flickering on the purple Electric Tempest beast's horn, at this moment, he suddenly understood something. That's right, maybe Lin Yi had to wait for a while each time, because his spirit beast could not continuously use martial arts. This kind of lightning martial arts was a bit rare, and it probably needed a while to recover. He did not think that it was Lin Yi. After all, Lin Yi was a cultivator like him, so he did not think too much about it. But spirit beasts were different. However, he did not know that his thoughts were already very close. Even if he was close, he could not escape the final fate. Boom! A bolt of lightning struck down and hit the Fire Wolf War God number 5's head. This time, he did not even have the thought of dodging. He was already disheartened. He stood in the same spot, waiting for the lightning to come. Song Lingrui and Little One also took this opportunity to attack the Fire Wolf War God number 5. At the same time, Little Feng had already brought him to the back of the Fire Wolf War God number 5. Frenzy 8 trigrams palm, 11th move. Lin Yi quickly activated his strongest martial arts technique, but this move still did not have the Essence Necklace's attack bonus. But it did not matter. Lin immediately activated the Frenzy 8 trigrams palm's 10th move, and the 10th move had the Essence Necklace's attack bonus, which was equivalent to the 11th move of the Frenzy 8 trigrams palm. Chapter 34:30. Fu. Lin Yi let out a long breath. He was about to use the chant to recover the lost chi in his body when suddenly, Lin Yi felt an uncontrollable hunger in his meridians. Lin Yi's energy had been drained the last few times, but this was the first time he craved to recover his energy as quickly as he did now. This feeling was familiar to Lin Yi. It was the feeling when he was about to break through the level barrier and needed a large amount of heaven and earth chi. Lin Yi had experienced this feeling before, just like that time when he attended the meeting of the hidden houses. It was the same situation back then. And when he replenished his energy, the breakthrough he had been looking forward to for a long time came one after another. Lin Yi knew that it was inevitable to crave for heaven and earth chi. So Lin Yi quickly continued to use the art of dragon mastery, allowing the energy in the space and the jade to rush into his meridians. Slowly, Lin Yi's chi was replenished, and the replenishment didn't stop. Instead, it became more and more frenzied as he channeled the chant. Mr. Lin Yi, what's going on? Originally, Hao Song should be quite happy that the 4 super enemies were killed, but now, Lin Yi's face was suddenly very red, as if he was about to burn. This made Hao Song worried. However, Song Lingshan understood Lin Yi. She saw Lin Yi's situation and could roughly guess what was going on. Grandpa, second grandpa, Ling Yi seems to be breaking through. Let's not disturb him and protect him. Yes, that's true. Some spiritual practitioners are like this when they are about to break through. Song Xianghua was reminded by Song Lingrui and nodded. If that's the case, then let's protect Mr. Ling Yi together. Song Lingrui was a physical practitioner. She looked at Lin Yi curiously. This person seemed to be quite strong, especially his human-beast fusion ultimate move. Looks like sister's eyesight is pretty good. Now, Song Ling Rui was completely convinced. She no longer dared to say that she wanted to test Ling Yi. Ling Shan said that she didn't want to hurt her, and it was true. Not to mention anything else, with a lightning strike and 2 more palm strikes, even if Song Ling Rui didn't die, she definitely wouldn't be able to live. This was the situation before Ling Yi broke through. If he broke through and became a peak heaven rank middle stage expert, wouldn't he be even more powerful? Thinking about it, Song Ling Rui felt a little scared. Luckily, I didn't provoke him. However, my attitude towards him didn't seem to be very good before. I wonder if this brother-in-law will bear a grudge. Moreover, apart from these, there was also that strange guy called Little E. At this moment, this person was like a pillar standing beside Lin Yi. No one knew where he came from, but he had the power of a peak late-stage heaven rank powerhouse. Obviously, Lin Yi had brought them here as well. Lin Yi didn't have time to explain to them. Since Ling Shan had already explained, there was no problem. He could just focus on breaking through and leveling up. At this moment, a warm current flowed from the space in the jade into Lin Yi's body. It started from his dantian and spread throughout his body. What followed was a burning sensation as if his meridians were on fire. However, Lin Yi wasn't worried. This wasn't the first time he felt this way. He was already used to it. After that, the burning sensation intensified. Lin Yi felt that starting from his meridians, his whole body was on fire. Even so, Lin Yi gritted his teeth and persevered. Lin Yi was too familiar with this feeling. The feeling before a breakthrough. The more painful it was, the closer he was to breaking through. Beads of sweat rolled down Lin Yi's forehead. The pain was getting stronger and stronger. However, Lin Yi was very excited. As Lin Yi's pain deepened, the energy in the air gathered and circled above Lin Yi's head, forming an extremely weak whirlpool. It resonated with Lin Yi's qi and circulated around Lin Yi's body. It spun faster and faster, and Lin Yi's body temperature rose as well. At this moment, a large amount of pure energy poured into Lin Yi's body from the space in the jade. Finally, a loud explosion sounded in Lin Yi's ears. His whole body trembled, and his meridians seemed to explode. At this moment, Lin Yi knew that he had broken through. Peak middle phase of heaven class. Lin Yi now had the strength of peak middle phase of heaven class. Who knew if he could use the 12th form of Fire Bagua Palm? Would it be able to instantly kill a peak late stage heaven realm expert? Lin Yi was looking forward to it. Lin Yi opened his eyes and nodded to the people beside him with a smile. Ling Rui, Xiangwen, Xianghua, and Ling Shan all felt the change in Lin Yi's strength. From Sky Class Middle Phase, he had directly advanced to Sky Class Middle Phase Peak. Congratulations, Mr. Ling Yi. In the future, it won't be difficult for Mr. Ling Yi to kill Peak Late Phase Heaven Class Masters in one hit. Xianghua said sincerely. This Ling Yi was really strong. If it wasn't for him, Hao Song would have been wiped out, and the result of Lin Yi's appearance was the complete annihilation of the enemy. It's hard to say. Lin Yi shook his head. He didn't test it. Who knew if he could successfully activate the 12th form of Fire Bagua Palm? Of course, if he could activate it, and it had an attack bonus, there was still hope for him to kill peak late phase heaven class masters in one hit. Ling Yi, thank you so much. You've helped Hao Song so much. Ling Shan said gratefully. Lin Yi didn't disappoint her once again. I was just lucky. Lin Yi smiled. Plus, how could I not care about your matters? Now, can you formally introduce your sister and second grandpa? Yes. Ling Shan nodded quickly. The Song family hadn't been in a good mood before, and Lin Yi had only told them about their identity and strength. Now that the Song family was in a good mood, they all cooperated with Lin Yi. Hello, brother-in-law. It's nice to meet you. My name is Song Ling Rui. You can also call me Rui. Ling Rui politely extended her hand to Lin. As the saying goes, a sister-in-law is half of a brother-in-law's butt. You have to protect me like you protect your butt. Chapter 34-31. Man, I can't blame you for being so cocky. It's true that no one in the world of practitioners is your match. Song Ling Rue nodded in agreement. Ling Yi, you're Shan Shan's boyfriend, so you have to protect me from now on. Song Xianghua smiled. I'm returning to my hometown now, so if the Foreign Practitioners Association comes looking for me, you have to help me. No problem. Lin Yi nodded. Haha, Shan Shan, this boyfriend of yours is pretty good. It's your fortune, and also Hao Song's fortune. Song Xianghua teased. Grandpa. Ling Shan blushed a little, but she seemed to enjoy it. Ling Shan, you guys clean up the battlefield. I'm going to rest. Don't throw away these bodies for now, Lin Yi said. Okay. Ling Shan nodded. She knew that Lin Yi had just broken through, and he needed to consolidate his strength. Lin Yi waved at Little One and brought him back to the Songhouse's guest room. After entering the room, Lin Yi closed the door and waved his hand, and Little Yi was put into the jade space. Little Yi was in a very strange state right now. He wasn't a living person, but he wasn't completely dead either. That was why Lin Yi's jade space didn't have any restrictions on entry. Senior Ghost, what's wrong with you today? It's fine if you don't know how to use Little Yi's Sky-class weapon, but why aren't you using your skills? Lin Yi asked with a bitter smile. Today's battle was also a freak accident. If that thing knew how to use martial arts or heaven-level divine weapons, then today's battle wouldn't have lasted for so long. But at the same time, Lin Yi didn't have the opportunity to break through. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Little Yi, who was possessed by the ghost soul. This puppet is too weak. It can't use my skills. His body isn't strong enough. Lin Yi paused. Little Yi was a top existence in the world of practitioners. Even if he wasn't as strong as Lin Yi, he was still a disciple of the Five Elements sect. However, he was still a disciple of the Five Elements sect, and his overall strength was a level higher than other practitioners at the peak of the late phase of Sky class. But the ghost said that it was too inferior. This made Lin Yi very depressed. This meant that the main body of the ghost was how strong must it be? All right, then what about the other Sky class late phase peak masters? Do you need to make them into puppets? Lin Yi asked. It's useless. I'll just throw it away. Just making one drained a lot of my primordial spirit. It wasn't easy for me to recover some of my primordial spirit's power. I don't want to waste it. The ghost said impatiently. All right, don't disturb me. I'm going to sleep. Okay. Lin Yi had no choice but to nod and agree. The ghostly thing stopped talking. Lin Yi also began to circulate the third stage of the art of dragon mastery and began to consolidate his strength. He had just broken through today, so Lin Yi didn't try to activate his martial skills. It would be easier for him to succeed after he had consolidated his strength. Because he had solved the problem of the Song family, Lin Yi felt more at ease when consolidating his strength. He didn't have to worry about any sudden incidents. At least for the next few days, it was peaceful. Even if the bosses behind those people found out that they had lost contact with the 4 Firewolf War Immortals, it would still be a matter of a few days before they came to look for them. Lin Yi quickly circulated the mantra, intending to consolidate his strength as soon as possible. Because Lin Yi was looking forward to the 12th move, Frenzy 8 Trigrams Palm. The higher the level of the Frenzy Fire 8 Trigrams Palm, the harder it was to activate. However, its power also gradually increased. In the past, it was only equivalent to 6 levels higher than ordinary martial techniques. But now it was more than 6 levels. Therefore, the higher the level, the harder it was to activate. However, if it was truly activated, it would be a rather powerful existence. Of course, this was also thanks to the Frenzy Fire Fist martial skill above the 10th level. The Frenzy Fire Fist itself was stronger than other ordinary martial skills. The first 10 moves were basically 1 level higher than ordinary martial skills. However, after the 10th move, it was not just 1 level higher, it was even 2 levels, 3 levels, and 4 levels higher. He had to admit that the Frenzy Fire Fist was truly a powerful martial skill. As for the 5 Elements 8 Trigrams Palm, although it was powerful, it only had 10 moves. At the 10th move, it would be the end. Therefore, no matter how powerful it was only an invincible existence under the Earth stage. However, No one would have thought that Lin he would have an omnipotent martial skill. By combining the two together, he could activate the even more powerful Frenzy Fire 8 trigrams palm. Its power was simply unimaginable. This was also the reason why Lin Yi's enemies suffered so much, because they didn't think of it. How could they be on guard? However, the next thing that happened made Lin Yi a little shocked. Along with the circulation of the mental cultivation method, Lin Yi's body's demand for heaven and earth spiritual energy seemed to be increasing, and the hunger that he had before breaking through came again. This hunger was getting stronger and stronger, which made Lin Yi a little shocked. It couldn't be. Could it be that he had just broken through and he was going to break through again? This was completely unrealistic. Lin Yi hurriedly wanted to stop the circulation of the mental cultivation method. However, although Lin Yi stopped the circulation of the mental cultivation method in his heart, in reality, the circulation of the mental cultivation method in his body didn't stop at all. Instead, he couldn't stop it at all. At this moment, Lin Yi discovered that the huge energy in the jade space was surging into his body from all directions at an extremely fast speed. This sudden change made Lin Yi suddenly shocked. What was going on? Why did it feel like he had lost control of his mental cultivation method? Could it be that the breakthrough just now wasn't complete, so he had to continue breaking through now? However, this feeling gave Lin Yi a familiar feeling, as if he had encountered it before. The energy surged into Lin Yi's body endlessly. In an instant, Lin Yi almost had a feeling that his body was about to explode. But there was no other way. He had already stopped the circulation of the mental cultivation method, but it was of no use. Wait, Lin Yi suddenly thought of another possibility. That was the breakthrough of the mental cultivation method. Chapter 34-32. So it was a double breakthrough. Thinking of this, Lin Yi also calmed down, allowing the energy around him to flow into his body. At this moment, Lin Yi's body was like a magnet, constantly absorbing the energy around him, and the energy in Lin Yi's body was increasing. Gradually, Lin Yi felt that his body could no longer withstand the huge amount of energy, and then his whole body exploded like a firecracker. With a loud bang, the clothes on his body instantly turned into charred pieces, flying in all directions. Breakthrough. Lin Yi did not expect that he would advance to the art of Dragon Mastery's third stage in such a short time. It seemed like there was not much time left until the second stage of the art of Dragon Mastery was completed, right? However, a breakthrough was a good thing. But the problem that troubled Lin Yi was, when could he open the fourth stone door? In the past, Lin Yi's mental cultivation method had not reached this level, so he did not think too much about it. After all, it was useless to think about things that had not been achieved yet. But now that the mental cultivation method had broken through to the art of Dragon Mastery, it meant that he could cultivate the fourth stage of the art of Dragon Mastery. If he had the fourth stage, other than speeding up the speed of cultivation, healing, and recovery of his physical strength, what other benefits would it bring? And what kind of benefits would there be in the fourth stone door? Something like an all-purpose martial technique, jade pendant refining, or divine weapon forging. Lin Yi was very much looking forward to it. However, it was useless to look forward to it. Currently, the prerequisite to open the fourth stone door was not only to break through to the art of Dragon Mastery's third stage of the art of Dragon Mastery, but also to hit the stone door with a divine weapon. Now, Lin Yi had the strength, but the divine weapon had not been forged yet. The only thing that comforted Lin Yi was that the refining materials were ready, and he only lacked the blood of the 5 Evils dragon. This was more difficult to get, unless he entered the 5 Evils Savage Land again. However, even if Lin Yi wanted to go in, the Heavenly Elixir sect would not let him in, and whether he could enter was a problem. It seemed that he should find a chance to ask Kong Ming Ming. Over here, the 4 Firewolf war gods were dead. Dr. Benjamin Tu and Qiu Shanlong were still anxiously waiting for their news. Previously, they had made a report. After going to the Song family to demonstrate, they gave the Song family time to consider. Today, they would go to the Song family again. However, They had waited for a long time. According to the time in Huaxia, it should be midnight now. How come there was no news of the 4 people? Qiu Shanlong, why there is still no news of the 4 Firewolf War? Will there be any accidents and complications? Dr. Benjamin, too, asked with some worry. It is reasonable to say that there should not be any problems. After all, they are all experts at the peak of the late stage of Heaven's stage. Looking at the current cultivation world, they're also the strongest existence. Not to mention a mere song family. Even those ancient sects would find it difficult to compete with the 4 of them unless they unite, right? Qiu Shanlong shook his head and said, "This is true." After listening, Dr. Benjamin too said, "Although the reason is reasonable, I still feel uneasy. The rules of the center are strict. After these 4 people capture the people, they will definitely contact us immediately. I'll make another call and see." After listening to Dr. Benjamin too, Qiu Shanlong picked up the phone again and dialed the number of the Firewolf War God number 5. However, after the phone was picked up, no one answered. Before the Firewolf War God number 5 brought people to the Song family, he didn't take the phone at all. He just left it in the hotel. He was an expert trained by the center. Usually, he didn't use a mobile phone, so it was normal not to bring it when he went out. Qiu Shanlong hung up twice, but still no one answered. This made him frown. "Doctor, no one is answering the phone. I know. Let's wait a little longer. If it doesn't work, we can only report to Master's wife, Miss Lon," said Dr. Benjamin too. However, the 2 of them waited for another 2 hours. Even if the Firewolf War God number 5 brought people from the hotel to the Song family and back, there was still no news. This couldn't help but make the 2 of them panic at the same time. There's still no answer. "Doctor, let's report this." This time, even Qiu Shanlong, who had always been calm, realized that something was wrong. Something big was going to happen. There's an 80% chance that something is wrong. Okay. Dr. Benjamin too directly dialed Miss Lan's phone. At this moment, Miss Lan was also waiting for news from Dr. Benjamin too. Song Lingrui was a very important research subject for the center. "Dr. Benjamin too, how is it? Have you brought Song Lingrui back?" asked Miss Lan. "Miss Lan, Master's wife, there is no news from the Firewolf War Gods." Qiu Shanlong called them, but no one answered. It was as if they suddenly disappeared. Said Dr. Benjamin too. "What?" Miss Lan was shocked after hearing it. "What happened?" 4 peak late stage great perfection masters couldn't take Song Lingrui away. Instead, she disappeared. I suspect that something happened. With the strength of the Song family, it is impossible to kill 4 of us Firewolf War Gods. Dr. Benjamin too said, if they had this strength, they would have made a move the first time they went to the Song family. They wouldn't have that helpless expression. I suspect that someone intervened to help, or it has nothing to do with the Song family. They encountered other troubles. I know. I will let someone investigate. Miss Lan was a person who did great things. After a short period of absent-mindedness, she calmed down. You don't have to worry about this matter. Concentrate on studying the 1st and 2nd grade automatic medicine cauldrons. Okay, I got it. Dr. Benjamin too agreed. Miss Lan had sent someone to deliver the 1st and 2nd grade automatic medicine cauldrons today, but Dr. Benjamin too had not poured out the time to study them yet. After hanging up the phone, Miss Lan couldn't sit still. She left her room and quickly went to Ancestor Xianshen. Miss Lan, why did you suddenly visit so late? Ancestor Xianshen looked at Miss Lan strangely and asked, There is something that I want to trouble Mr. Xianshen for. Miss Lan said straightforwardly, in the Chinese cultivation world, there should be nothing that can be hidden from the 5 Elements sect, right? Chapter 34-33. It's like this. On my side, 4 experts came here to do some work, but they suddenly lost contact. Miss Lan said, 4 experts? What kind of experts are they? When did this happen? Ancestor Xianshen was slightly stunned. He was a little surprised. He didn't expect Miss Lan to bring people over. What level of expert was this expert? 4 peak, late heaven stage, great perfection experts. This afternoon, after they went to do some work, we lost contact with the people at my headquarters. We can't contact them now. Miss Lan didn't hide it now. After all, if she didn't give these details to Ancestor Xianxin, where would he go to find them? What? For peak, late, heaven stage, great perfection experts? This time, Ancestor Xianxin was completely shocked. He didn't expect the center to have such a foundation and strength. They could actually send 4 peak, late, heaven stage, great perfection experts. Previously, he thought that they only had some research in technology and biohuman modification. He didn't expect that there were still hidden experts. Even Ancestor Xianxin didn't know about these experts, let alone others. However, after his shock, he still asked, where did they go? What did they do? Miss Lon, don't worry. With the strength of the 4 of them, they're almost invincible on our side. Except for our 5-element sect, no one can make them stay. Ancestor Xianxin didn't blame Miss Lon for not mentioning this matter in advance. Although the 5-element sect was from the Central Plains of China, it didn't mean that the cultivators in the Central Plains needed to be under the jurisdiction of the 5-element sect. Moreover, Patriarch Xianxin and Miss Lon happened to be in a cooperative relationship. It was only reasonable that Patriarch Xianxin had to help resolve this matter. This is what happened. Miss Lon didn't hide too much. She started from the Devil's Trial. A guest elder of the Overseas Cultivators Association snatched their center's inheritance. They waited until the guest elder returned to the Central Plains of China before they made a move. Overseas Cultivators Association. After Patriarch Xianxin heard this, although he felt that Miss Lon was a little unhappy with his younger brother's subordinate, he was just a guest elder after all, so he let it go. Moreover, this person had already returned and did not have much of a relationship with the Overseas Cultivators Association. Does that guest elder have some backing in the Central Plains? According to the investigation, there is no such thing. Miss Lon said, the guest elder's real name is Song Ling Rue. She is a member of the secular Song family. How could such a family have any backers? What? When Patriarch Xianxin heard the names of Song Ling Rue and the secular Song family, he was shocked. He slammed the table and stood up. Miss Lon, what did you say? This Song Ling Rue is from the secular Song family? That's right. Mr. Xianxin, what's with your expression? Miss Lon looked strangely at the extremely shocked Patriarch Xianxin. In her opinion, Patriarch Xianxin had always been a very calm person. It was rare for him to reveal such a shocking expression. Could it be that the Song family, the secular family, has an ancient backer? Why would they be willing to stay in a secular family? Although the Song family is only a secular family, and they do not have an ancient backer, they have an even more powerful backer. Even I have a headache dealing with this person. Patriarch Xianxin smiled bitterly and said, actually, Miss Lon, you should have heard that this person is Lin E. What? Lin E? Miss Lon was stunned and immediately frowned. This Lin E can actually kill 4 experts at the peak of the late stage of Heaven Stage? That's impossible, right? According to common sense, it is indeed impossible. However, I'm afraid that he has invited some mysterious help, such as the Bubbly clan. My disciple, Xiao Yi, was killed by the Bubbly clan under Lin Yi's orders. Patriarch Xianxin said helplessly, if the Bubbly clan intervenes, it is really possible. Miss Lan's expression changed again and again. Finally, she said, then, Mr. Xianxin, do you have any ideas? In my opinion, the most important thing is to first investigate whether this matter has anything to do with Lin Yi. If there is, what kind of relationship? Who did Lin Yi invite to do it? Patriarch Xianxin thought about it and said, the key problem is to carefully find out whether these 4 people are still alive and whether they have died. Okay, I'll have to trouble Mr. Xianxin with this matter. As for the 1st and 2nd grade automatic medicinal cauldrons, I will ask Dr. Benjamin too to hurry up and develop them as soon as possible. Miss Lon said, Patriarch Xianxin nodded and then shouted to the door, waiter, come here for a moment. Yes. Soon, the waiter's voice was heard, and then the waiter walked into Patriarch Xianxin's room. Master, are you looking for me? How about this? You bring Kong Ming Ming and quickly go to Yanjing City to investigate something. It's like this. Patriarch Xianxun told him about the disappearance of Miss Lan's 4 people in the secular song house, and then said, "You have to be careful about this matter. Listen to Xiaoming. Xiaoming is a smart child. If there is really a strong enemy there, such as the Bubbly clan, you don't have to prove that there's a conflict, understand? How about this? Let Zhao Guangyin, Mian Huachuan, and Zhao Qibing follow and protect Kong Mingming. Your son-in-law's strength is lower. Don't lose out." Miss Lan thought about it and said, "After all, he is working for our center." "Oh, if that's the case, thank you, Miss Lan." Patriarch Xianxun was overjoyed. Originally, he was going to let Kong Mingming bring the 3 masters from House Zhao to the Heaven Clash trial, but he didn't tell Miss Lan. He didn't know if Miss Lan would agree. But now, before he could say anything, Miss Lan had already brought it up. This made Patriarch Xianxun very happy. When the time came for the trial, Kong Mingming would bring the 3 of them to participate in the trial. That would be a matter of course. There's no need to thank me. I hope you can find out the whereabouts of the 4 people from our center as soon as possible. Miss Lan waved her hand. The 3 masters from House Zhao were just modified test subjects. They weren't particularly important to her. Moreover, these 4 masters had their own flaws. The center didn't care too much. Then I'll go rest first and wait for Mr. Schwanchen's news. Miss Lan, don't worry. Once there is news, I will inform you immediately. Patriarch Xianxun nodded and said. Chapter 34-34. Kong Mingming thought that he was pretty awesome when he brought 3 top masters with him and Xiao Er. He never thought that he would be this awesome one day. I, Kong Mingming, am the smartest and most adaptable person. Lin Yi, it's your bad luck to meet me. A trash like Zhao Qibing is only worthy of being my follower. Only I can be your opponent. I, Kong Mingming, am the strongest. Zhao Qibing was actually a little depressed. He was once the heir of a great hidden house, and Kong Mingming was just a playboy who wasn't even from a noble house. There was no comparison between them, but now he had become Kong Mingming's follower. He had no choice. He had to lower his head when he was under someone else's roof. Who asked Kong Mingming to be the son-in-law of the 5-element sect Xianxun Elder? As for the 3 of them, although they were Sky-class late-phase peak, they were stronger than Kong Mingming. But it depended on who gave them this strength. The 5-element sect and the center had their lifeblood in their hands. Although their strength was there, if they didn't inject the medicine regularly, they would be no different from a normal person. They might not even be as strong as they were before. So if they wanted to maintain their power as top masters, they could only be the dogs of the 5-element sect. But even so, a dog with a home was better than a stray dog. At least, they felt that if they saw Lin Yi again, it would be Lin Yi's death. Second brother, let's go to the secular house Kong first. Kong Mingming wanted to show his strength to the secular house Kong. It would also let them feel that they were doing quite well now. No problem. Whatever Junior Brother Kong says, we'll go with it. It was all led by Junior Brother Kong. The waiter quickly nodded and said, his qualifications were not as good as Little Yi's. Perhaps Little Yi and Kong Mingming had come together, so naturally, the 2 of them would discuss things. But now, it was completely Kong Mingming who was in charge. Kong Mingming nodded with satisfaction. This time, Kong Xiaoming's return home could be said to be a triumphant return. He had brought so many top-notch experts to the Kong family's doorstep. The current Kong family was still a relatively independent existence. It wasn't considered a worldly family, but its status had already surpassed worldly families. It could even be considered a hidden family, because everyone in the cultivation world knew that the Kong family had an 8th elder of the heavenly elixir sect. Those who were slightly better informed also knew that Kong Mingming was the son-in-law of Patriarch Xianxun. Therefore, who dared to provoke the Kong family? Of course, no one dared to provoke the Kong family. In fact, the Kong family was not doing very well, because they didn't dare to provoke others. Those worldly families and most of the hidden families were Lin Yi's people. Lin Yi was someone that even Kong Mingming had a headache with. How could the Kong family dare to provoke him? Therefore, the Kong family could only get some small benefits, but they couldn't get any big benefits. With the assistance of the Heavenly Elixir sect, they could do some small business, but their business was also blocked by the automatic medicine cauldrons. Xiaoming, what are you doing? Xiaolong was now the young master of the Kong family. He heard from the servants that Kong Ming had returned and quickly ran out to welcome him. However, there were a few peak late phase sky class masters standing outside, so Xiaolong was a little scared. He had already practiced the arts Kong Ming had given him and had stepped into the cultivation world. However, his strength wasn't great, but it didn't stop him from feeling the strength of other practitioners. Haha, let me introduce you. These three used to be masters of House Zhao, and now they're my subordinates. They're peak late phase sky class masters. Kong Ming pointed at Zhao Qibing and the others. Xiaolong was shocked. These three were peak late phase sky class masters, but his brother's strength hadn't changed yet. How could he control so many masters? They weren't from the Five Elements sect, but House Zhao. This was a little strange. Greetings, young Master Kong. Zhao Qibing, Zhao Guanyin, and Mian Huachuan quickly cupped their fists. The three of them understood the situation. Xiaolong might be weak, but he was still Little 11's brother-in-law, which meant that he was his brother-in-law. How could they not respect him? Oh, Xiaolong was even more shocked as he nodded. This is my second senior brother. He's also at the peak of sky class late phase. Kong Xiaoming introduced. Young Master Kong. I'll call you Brother Kong then, huh? Little Heir said humbly and passionately. This. Xiaolong didn't know what to say. Xiaoming, tell your brother, why are you so strong now? Actually, father-in-law sent me here this time to investigate something. This matter most likely has something to do with Lin Yi, so I brought these masters with me. If possible, I want to kill him while I'm at it. Xiaoming said faintly. That's great. Xiaolong quickly said, are you going to kill Lin Yi? Xiaoming, do you know how much I hate this Lin Yi? My own fiancé is sleeping with him all day long. Your brother is going to die of sullenness every day. Although people talk about House Kong because you're the son-in-law of Elder Xianxin and the 8th Elder of Sky Elixir Sect, they'll look up to me and House Kong, but no one knows what they say behind our backs. Our family is so strong, but we're not as strong as that lone practitioner Lin Yi. It's a long story. Brother, don't worry. I couldn't solve this before, but this time, as long as it's related to Lin Yi, he'll die for sure. Kong Ming said heroically. Ugh, what if it's not related? Xiaolong quickly asked. It's not related. I'll just make up a relationship and make him related. Don't worry, brother. I want him dead more than you do. Wahaha. Kong Ming laughed arrogantly, but he had 4 peak late phase sky class masters with him. He felt that killing Lin Yi was a piece of cake. It didn't take much effort at all. The most important thing now was to investigate if the Bubbly clan was still here. Kong Ming subconsciously thought that the Bubbly clan had helped Lin Yi and House Song. Otherwise, with Lin Yi's strength, killing 4 peak late phase sky class masters was undoubtedly a pipe dream. Kong Ming didn't believe it at all. Chapter 34-35. Second update. Asking for votes. Don't worry, big bro. I know you've been brooding over this. You've lost face, and that means I, Kong Ming, have lost face as well. I'll definitely get rid of Lin Yi for you. Kong Ming said with a pat on his chest. Now, you can go get that bitch Xinyan and wait for my good news. Ugh, forget it. I'll wait for Lin Yi to die first. Xiaolong didn't dare do that. After all, everything would be fine if Lin Yi died, but what if he didn't? Then he'd capture Xinyan first, and if Kong Ming couldn't handle it, then he'd be in big trouble. Lin Yi wouldn't kill him, or at least cripple him. Even if he didn't do anything to Xinyan and only captured her, he wouldn't be able to recover. All right then, just wait for my good news. Kong Ming could see that his big brother was a coward, but he didn't say anything. After all, he and Xiaolong were just the pot calling the kettle black. If it weren't for these masters backing him up, he really wouldn't dare go after Lin Yi alone. It'd be too dangerous. That night, House Kang's mansion was decorated with lanterns and streamers to celebrate Kong Ming Ming's return. It lasted until 1 in the morning before everyone went to sleep. If it weren't for the fact that Kong Ming Ming had to go to Yinjing to investigate, they'd probably stay up all night. After all, Kong Ming Ming was just too strong. He had 4 Sky-class masters with him, peak late phase peak. Even an ancient noble house couldn't compare. The next morning, Kong Ming Ming brought the 3 masters from House Zhao and Xiao to Yinjing. Kong Xiaoming didn't go find trouble with House Song directly. Instead, he stayed nearby and slowly observed. He wanted to see if the members of the Bubbly clan were nearby. He had been to the Bubbly clan before, so he was quite familiar with the appearance of the people of the Bubbly clan. He could tell the difference at a glance. So if these people were nearby, they wouldn't be able to escape from Kong Ming Ming's eyes. Junior Brother Kong, there haven't been any outsiders that come into the Song family these past few days? After 2 days of surveillance, there were no outsiders in the Song family. Only a few disciples of the Song family came and went, obviously, to buy things. Little Waiter asked doubtfully. Kong Ming Ming nodded and said, "Yes, I don't think so. Even if they come to the Song family, it's impossible for them to not go out. It's not interesting for them to stay at home. If they don't walk around, I'm afraid they will go back." "What should we do next?" Little Fool asked. "Let's wait for a while. Let's make sure there's no one else in the Song family." Kong Ming Ming was arrogant this time, but he was still very careful. "All right, there's no harm in being careful." Little Fool agreed with Kong Ming Ming's point of view. That afternoon, Kong Ming Ming saw Lin Yi and Ling Shan leave the Song family together. It was like he had discovered a new continent. Lin Yi is in the Song family. Kong Ming Ming was overjoyed. If the Bubbly clan is in the Song family, then there's no way Lin Yi didn't bring them out. It seems like the Bubbly clan isn't in the Song family anymore. I'll go test Lin Yi. Junior Brother Kong, you want to go yourself? Little Fool was shocked. There won't be any danger, right? Of course not. I'll just pretend to meet him and ask him a few questions. He can't do anything to me. Kong Ming Ming said. I know Lin Yi. He won't go against the 5-element school. Besides, he need me to concoct pills for him. All right, be careful then. Little Fool saw that Kong Ming Ming had made up his mind. He didn't say anything else. In actuality, Lin Yi was going shopping with Ling Shan today. Ling Shan wanted Lin Yi to go out with her. After all, Lin Yi couldn't stay in the Song family forever. Lin Yi had to go back. Yushu was about to go to Flaming Mountain, and Lin Yi promised to send her there. So Lin Yi had to go back as well. Ling Shan, on the other hand, wanted to find the feeling of love. Her relationship with Lin Yi was a bit of a bumpy one. She chased him a lot, and although Lin Yi accepted her, she always felt that her relationship with Lin Yi was far worse than Meng Yao, Yushu, Xin Yan, Tang Yun, and Xiao Xiao. She wasn't even as good as Sun Jingyi. So Ling Shan wanted to improve her relationship with Lin Yi. It was rare for Ling Shan to make a request like this, and naturally, Lin Yi agreed. In fact, Ling Shan wasn't the type of girl who liked shopping. She came out this time just for the feeling. In other words, she didn't care what she bought, but who she went shopping with. The two walked aimlessly on the street. There was a dazzling array of goods, but Ling Shan didn't pay much attention to it. She just walked with Lin Yi, talking about the interesting things that happened when they first met in Songzhan. It was only a year, but it felt like a long time. The two couldn't help but sigh when they talked about it. As they walked, a person came towards them. Lin Yi paused, and so did Ling Shan. They hadn't seen this person for a long time. Isn't this Lin Yi, boss? What a coincidence. What are you doing here? Kong Xiaoming was surprised to see Lin Yi and ran over to greet him. Kong Ming Ming? Aren't you at the Sky Elixir School and 5-element school? What are you doing here? Lin Yi didn't know why Kong Ming Ming was here, but this guy was always up to no good no matter where he went. Oh, I'm just going home to act cool. And then I came to Yinjing to look for some connections and do some business. Kong Xiaoming shrugged. I'm a member of the 5-element sect and Sky Elixir sect now. I'm so powerful, but my family isn't doing so well. The elixir business has been affected by your cauldron, so I can't do it anymore. I have a lot of stock. I can only contact the auction house and sell those elixirs to the common world. Oh, is that so? Lin Yi listened to Kong Ming Ming's words, and it seemed to be the case. But this guy didn't seem like someone who would tell the truth no matter how he looked at it. But this didn't have much to do with Lin Yi, and so Lin Yi only said, "Where are my pills? When are you giving them to me? I'm already Sky Class mid-phase peak, and if you don't give them to me, I'll be at max level soon. There's no use for them, even if I eat them. You can only admire them yourself." Ugh, you leveled up again? Kong Ming Ming paused. He didn't expect Lin Yi to have leveled up again. He was now a Sky Class mid-phase peak. Stop the bullshit. When are you giving me the pills? Lin Yi asked. Chapter 34-36. The first update, asking for votes. Forget it, I still have things to do. You can go by yourself. Lin Yi waved his hand. Hey, by the way, can you take me to see the people from the Bubbly clan? Kong Ming Ming suddenly said. Bubble Leaf clan? What are you going to do? Lin Yi was stunned. He didn't understand what Kong Ming Ming was talking about. Oh, it's like this. Little First Body is gone. I want to find it. I think only the Bubbly clan knows about this. I want to ask, didn't they come here a while ago? Kong Ming Ming asked. You're here. Lin Yi frowned and asked calmly. Yes, I heard that they came to the Song family to help drive away some foreign masters. Kong Ming Ming said. Oh, Lin Yi's mind raced as he tried to figure out what Kong Xiaoming meant. How did Kong Ming Ming know that someone from the Song family was here to cause trouble? Moreover, it was an external expert. What do you mean by inquiring about the Bubbly clan? Could it be that he has some relationship with those foreign experts? Or perhaps he thinks that I invited the Bubbly clan to kill those experts from the outside world? Thinking about it, this was the only possibility. Oh, did you see them? Kong Ming Ming asked anxiously. He didn't know what Lin Yi meant by, oh. What does that have to do with you? Lin Yi asked. Didn't I say it already? I want to find little one's corpse. I suspect they've hidden it. Kong Ming Ming said with a bitter face. After all, I was the one who lost the corpse. Father-in-law Xianxin asked me to do it. Is a corpse that important? Lin Yi was puzzled. It's not important, but we have to figure out where the corpse went. Kong Ming Ming said, Great God Lin Yi, your master is ancestor profound heaven, so I won't hide it from you. Do you know that the disciples of the Five Elements sect have soul jade plates? I've heard of it, but I don't really know, Lin Yi said. It's like this. If a disciple of the Five Element school dies outside, his soul jade plate will also shatter accordingly. However, Little Yi's jade plate is only cracked, but not broken. Moreover, his corpse is gone, so we are not sure whether he is dead or alive. Therefore, I have to find out the truth. Kong Ming Ming explained. Lin Yi's heart turned cold. So, Ancestor Xianxin has already seen the problem? Little one had been transformed into a puppet doppelganger, so it was either dead or alive. No wonder the Soul Jade tablet was only cracked and didn't shatter. Then you can go to the Hakanamada Desert. They have already gone back. Lin Yi said, Although I have a friendship with them, they can't accompany me all the time, right? I still have my own things to do. I see. Kong Ming Ming's face was a little disappointed, but he was happy in his heart. Then forget it. It's too far away. I can't afford to go there again. By the way, do you live in the secular Song family? Yes, what's the problem? Lin Yi nodded. Nothing. Is there anyone else? Can I live there? Kong Ming Ming asked. There's also Ling Shan's sister, Ling Ruwei, and her second grandfather. We're all annoyed that you can't live there. Lin Yi told the truth. Since Kong Ming Ming knew that there were foreign masters looking for trouble with the Song family, how could he not know about Song Ling Ruwei and Song Xianghua? Then forget it. I'll be leaving first. Kong Ming Ming nodded and waved at Lin Yi. Don't forget my pill. Lin Yi reminded. If he had another chi gathering pill now, then Lin Yi would be able to break through to Sky Class late phase. I won't. I'll give it to you next time. With that, Kong Ming Ming left. After Kong Ming Ming left, Ling Shan said, Lin Yi, I feel like there's something wrong with this Kong Ming Ming. My professional instincts tell me that he's hiding something. I can see that. But who knows what he's thinking? Anyway, be careful when you go back. This guy probably doesn't come with good intentions. Linny nodded. Because of this incident with Kong Ming Ming, Lin Yi and Ling Shan didn't have the mood to shop anymore. They went back to House Song. At the Song family's dinner, Lin Yi told Song Xianghua about his encounter with Kong Ming Ming. Song Ling Rui and Song Xianghua didn't know who Kong Ming Ming was, but Lin Yi explained his identity to them. That's weird. This Kong Ming is an elder of the Sky Elixir sect and the son-in-law of the Five Elements sect. Why would he come all the way here to meddle in this? Song Ling Rui found it strange as well. He even found out that there's a foreign master coming here to attack us. I'm curious too. I keep feeling that the foreign master seems to have some connection with Kong Ming Ming. As for what connection, I'm not sure yet. Lin, he shook his head. Forget it. We'll deal with it when it comes. Song Ling Rui waved her hand and said indifferently, although the Five Elements sect is strong, after brother-in-law killed a few of their masters, there's no one left. Even if their Xianxin elder is very strong, if he comes personally, it'll be easy for me and second grandpa, brother-in-law, and that helper to destroy them. It's always good to be careful. Rui, don't be arrogant. Ling Shan frowned and reminded her. She realized that Song Ling Rui was a little overconfident now. She relied too much on and believed in Lin Yi's strength. All right, what you said makes sense. It's good to be careful. However, with the Five Elements sect strength, even if Xianxan comes, we still have the confidence to fight them. Lin Yi nodded. Haha, brother-in-law is still the best. Song Ling Rui looked at Ling Shan proudly. Ling Shan shook her head helplessly. There was nothing she could do. The family finished dinner together and was about to go back to rest when suddenly they heard a loud shout coming from the Song house's door. Song family, listen up. The Five Elements sect's messenger has arrived. Please come out and welcome him. The voice was very abrupt, and it shocked everyone present. However, when they heard the words Five Elements sect's messenger, their faces showed a look of understanding. Just when they were talking about Kong Ming Ming, Kong Ming came. Speak of the devil, and he will come. However, this voice was not Kong Ming Ming's. Let's go and have a look. Lin Yi unknowingly became the backbone of the Song family. Lin Yi saw that Song Xiangwen and Song Xianghua were looking at him, so he nodded and stood up first. Chapter 34-37. Second watch. Asking for votes. They weren't as nervous as they were the first time the Firewolves came. With Lin Yi here, they had more confidence. Song Ling Rui was even more excited, as if there was going to be a good show. House Song, under Lin Yi's lead, arrived at the gate. Lin Yi saw Kong Ming Ming, a stranger, and three acquaintances standing beside them. Lin Yi hadn't seen this stranger before, but judging from his clothes, he should be a disciple of Five Elements sect. Lin Yi wondered what his rank was. The other three acquaintances, however, made Lin Yi frown. They were from House Zhao, Zhao Qibing, Zhao Guangyin, and Mian Huachuan. Why were the three of them here? Kong Ming Ming, you came to talk to me in the day, and now you've brought people here at night. Are you here to destroy me and House Song? Lin Yi looked at Kong Ming Ming and said coldly, Lin Yi, are you still not going to make a move? Kong Xiaoming laughed and said, the reason why I came here is that the Five Elements sect and the Firewolves gang have started a full cooperation. Those four people were from the Firewolves gang. They were killed by the people you hired to flirt with the Li clan. How can we let you go? This time, not only you, but House Song will be finished, and we'll take that Song Ling Rui with us. Now, you can't call for help, and without the Firewolves, what will you do? Are you done? Lin Yi looked at Kong Ming Ming indifferently. You're that confident that you can destroy me? Of course, do you see? This is my second senior brother, a Sky-class late-phase, peak, full-circle master. Kong Ming Ming pointed at the waiter beside him. If you think that he's the only Sky-class late-phase, peak, full-circle master, then you're wrong. There's more. There's more? Lin Yi frowned and turned to look at the three masters from House Zhao. They were the only ones present, and there was no one else. Kong Xiaoming said that there were more people, so it could only be these three. But Lin Yi knew that they weren't that strong, so he didn't pay much attention to them. But now that he saw them, Lin Yi was shocked. These three people were actually at the peak of the late stage of Heaven Realm? How is that possible? How could the strength of these three people increase so quickly? Lin Yi would believe it if they were all inheritors, but three normal practitioners from the Zhaos were able to enter the ranks of top-level practitioners in such a short amount of time. Wasn't this a little too unbelievable? However, Kong Ming didn't know that Lin Yi had such a cheat. He turned to Kong Ming and smiled. What? Tell me about it. These three masters from House Zhao are now masters of our five elements sect. They're also my bodyguards and thugs. Killing you is just a game. Kong Ming looked at Lin Yi fiercely. Now, I'll give you a chance. Tell us, how did these four overseas masters die? That's how they died. Lin Yi said lightly. Hey, I think you want to do it the hard way. Kong Ming's face changed. He didn't expect Lin Yi to be so relaxed when facing four Sky-class late phase peak full circle masters. He was a little unhappy. Second brother, teach him a lesson. Let him know who's in charge here. Don't you want to avenge big brother? Eldest senior brother was killed by him. Lin Yi, right? I've heard of you. Little fool said lightly. You couldn't beat him, so you found someone else to kill big brother. How despicable and shameless. I've been wanting to get even with you for a long time. Hee hee. Are you talking about Kong Ming? You can't beat me, so you got a bunch of people to help you? Lin Yi smiled faintly. Song Lingrui looked at Lin Yi in surprise. The first time Kong Xiaoming called out Lin Yi's name, she thought she heard it wrong and thought it was Ling Yi, but this time she was sure that little fool was calling out Lin Yi's name. Not Ling Yi. This person is Lin Yi. Isn't that the person I want to kill? How is this possible? Although Ling Yi and Lin Yi's names were similar, Song Lingrui didn't mind. After all, it was like the Chinese listening to the names of foreigners. There were many similar pronunciations, so they felt the same. Song Lingrui grew up overseas, so naturally it was the same. She felt that there were many names with similar pronunciations in China, so she didn't think too much about it in the beginning. Now that she thought about it carefully, she finally understood the weird expression on her sister's face when she heard Lin Yi's name. This Ling Yi was Lin Yi, the person she wanted to assassinate, and also her brother-in-law. Thinking of this possibility, Song Lingrui felt a little discouraged and scared. If this person wasn't Song Lingrui's brother-in-law, she would be beaten to death if she went to him. Didn't they see how tragically those four firewolf war gods died? Song Lingrui sighed. Luckily, she didn't do anything stupid, or she wouldn't even know how she died. Don't say those useless things. Kong Ming wasn't happy that his shortcomings were exposed. Look, these masters from House Zhao that you stepped on before are now ruthless people. You'll cry later. Lin Yi glanced at the masters from House Zhao, his eyes cold. Zhao Qibing, long time no see. You're still showing off? Ha ha. Lin Yi, the winner is the king. The loser is the bandit. I, Zhao Qibing, have finally made it. Not only you, but Meng Yao and Yushu as well. The humiliation and pain they gave me, I'll definitely get them back. After you die, they'll follow in your footsteps. Zhao Qibing was finally powerful, so he started shouting crazily. Is that so? Then don't regret it later, Lin Yi said faintly. Choosing to go against me won't end well. Don't look down on you just because you're a peak perfection heaven rank expert. You should know that I'm the best at leapfrogging. Instant kill? Zhao Qibing's face changed slightly as he thought of the past, but he calmed down immediately. Instant kill a Sky-class late phase peak? What a joke. Why don't you do it for me? I've already killed you. What else can you do? Lin Yi looked at Zhao Qibing mockingly. Chapter 34-38. His purpose for coming here this time was to avenge little Yi, so since there was a chance, he would use Lin Yi as a show of strength. He didn't hold back and directly activated the chant, smashing his staff at Lin Yi's face. Little fool was fast, but Lin Yi was prepared. He wore the gale-chasing lightning boots, and with the butterfly micro steps, he easily dodged Little Fool's attack. This speed depended on who it was. If it was against Song Lingrui and Song Xianhua, they might be unprepared, but Lin he had the gale-chasing lightning boots and the butterfly micro-steps. It would be strange if he was hit, even if he was prepared. Little Fool saw that Lin he dodged and couldn't help but be stunned. He thought that his speed was the fastest in the five-element sect, and he had never seen anyone who could dodge it so easily. But Lin he dodged it. He quickly wanted to chase after Lin Yi, but as soon as he turned his head, he saw a palm with hot flames slapping towards him. The 12th form of the Frenzy 8 trigrams palm. Lin Yi shouted and took this opportunity to slap Little Fool. Since Little Fool wanted to use him to establish his dominance, he was actually using Little Fool to establish his dominance. These few days of training in House Song, Lin he could already successfully activate the 12th form of the Frenzy 8 trigrams palm. The power of the 12th form was already not small, and with the addition of the Essence Energy Necklace, this slap, even if Little Fool didn't die, he would be a cripple. Boom dash, Little Fool's entire body flew out with the wind from Lin Yi's palm and landed beside Kong Ming Ming. His legs twitched for a moment, and then he stopped moving. No one knew whether he was dead or alive. Kong Ming Ming was dumbfounded, and so were the three masters of House Zhao. What was going on? He was killed instantly? All right, it's done. Zhao Qibing, did you see that? Lin Yi smiled as he looked at Zhao Qibing. He didn't look like someone who had just killed a Sky-class late-phase peak at all. Ugh. Qibing's face turned ashen as he knelt on the ground with a thud, pissing himself. Kong Ming Ming's face turned pale. He never thought that Lin Yi would be so powerful that he could kill Little Fool in one move. Could it be that Lin Yi had the ability to kill Little One that day, yet didn't do so and sought out the Bubbly clan for other purposes? For a moment, Kong Ming Ming did not know what to do. He stood there, unable to advance or retreat. Master Bing, what's wrong? Is there something wrong with your leg? Lin Yi looked at Qibing mockingly. He had used up all his pure qi, because he realized that he could only use the 12th form of the Frenzy 8 trigrams palm once with his strength at the peak of Heaven rank middle stage. It was impossible to activate it even a little more, as it consumed too much of his physical strength and true qi. So, although he looked powerful on the surface, he was actually using this time to recover his physical strength and true qi. If these three masters from House Zhao came to cause trouble for Lin Yi and surround Lin Yi, then Lin Yi would have to summon the purple electric beast and run, because he didn't have enough pure qi to activate the butterfly micro steps. Right, I practiced 1,000 kicks, so there's some side effects. Haha, I can't stand properly often, and I kneel when I see Hiyashi Lin. Qibing laughed dryly. It seems that the side effects of increasing my strength too quickly are quite obvious. Oh, I see. Lin Yi nodded. Then what are you three masters from House Zhao doing here? Are you here to attack me and House Song? Come, I'll kill you three in 1 second. And I still need to go back for dinner. Getting interrupted in the middle of dinner. How annoying. Cough. Qibing was scared out of his wits, and Zhao Guangyin and Mian Huachuan subconsciously took 2 steps back. This Lin Yi was simply too strong. Back then, Lin Yi was like a god of death, washing House Zhao with blood. They thought that by relying on the 5-element sect and enduring so much pain, one day, when they become the top masters of Sky Stage Great Perfection, they could kill Lin Yi and avenge the extermination of Zhao family. But today, they regretfully realized that the difference between their dreams and reality was too big. They realized that it was impossible for them to kill Lin Yi and take revenge. At least, it was impossible in this lifetime. In the past, Lin Yi's strength wasn't this high, and they always had hope, but once Lin Yi stepped into the peak of the secular world and could instantly kill Sky-class masters, they lost all hope. Sometimes, hope and giving up was just a matter of a thought. Unless they could ascend to the heavenly Tao, that unreachable legendary realm. But masters like them who were artificially modified would never be able to ascend again in their lifetime. If they didn't use medicine to maintain themselves, and their bodies lost the medicine, they wouldn't even be as strong as before, just a lot weaker than normal people. But now, the three of them felt dispirited. It was impossible. They would never be able to take revenge. Lin Yi's strength had extinguished all thoughts of revenge in this instant. Oh, God, Lin Yi, we're just here to watch the show. Actually, we've seen through the world a long time ago, and we've wanted to leave the Five Elements sect for a long time. We're going to convert to Buddhism. Yes, to become monks. We're leaving. Ami Tofu, I'm leaving, Zhao Qibing said incoherently and turned to run. Zhao Guangyin and Mian Huachuan were also running behind him. The three of them were running as fast as they could possibly run. But their thoughts were the same, and that was to find a place to live in seclusion. Since there was no hope for revenge in this lifetime, there was no point in playing with the Five Elements sect. They just lived the rest of their lives in peace. House Zhao still had a sizable amount of savings overseas, enough for the three of them to live. Seeing his three bodyguards running away, Kong Ming was a little numb. Wasn't this betrayal a little too fast? Zhao Ming, you're not honest. You didn't say you were coming to visit when you bumped into me. If I knew you were coming, I have to prepare myself. Linny looked at Kong Ming alone and said with a smile that wasn't a smile. Haha, Linny boss, you must be joking. I was forced. It's Miss Lawn from the center. It's her. She asked me to investigate the deaths of the 4 overseas masters. The 3 biohumans of House Zhao were also modified by the center. I'm just leading the way. It has nothing to do with me. Kong Ming explained carefully with a sad face. Really? What's the center? Isn't it the Fire Wolf gang? Lin Yi asked back. Chapter 34-39. Oh, Lin Yi frowned slightly. So, the center and the Five Elements sect are cooperating, and the people from the center want to deal with the Song family and capture Song Lingrui, right? That's right. So, it has nothing to do with me. That Xiao heir wanted to avenge Xiao Yi, so he was eager to make a move. I have already persuaded him on the way that Boss Lin Yi is extremely powerful and that he is no match for him at all. Beating him is like beating a dog. But he doesn't believe me, Kong Ming explained, but there is no other way. He has been in the Five Elements sect for too long. He doesn't know how powerful the outside world is and how many masters there are. Let's not talk about him. If he is dead, then so be it. Then why are you here? Lin, he asked with a smile. I'm here to look for the body, I told you. Kong Ming said quickly. Oh, the body is not here. Lin, he waved his hand and said, next time, when I see you, bring me the elixir. I will remember today's account. If you don't have the elixir, you can only die, because you are worthless to me. Okay. Of course. Kong Xiaoming quickly nodded. He didn't think that he would be able to escape death. How lucky. Then you can go. I won't ask you to stay for dinner. Lin, he did not kill Kong Ming. First, it was because of the Qi gathering elixir. Second, the most important thing was that he really did not want to be in a deadlock with the Five Elements sect at the last moment. After all, the Five Elements sect was the initiator of the inheritor plan. Those inheritors were all related to Lin Yi. Lin Yi did not want to become enemies with ancestor Xianshun prematurely. Now that Xiao heir was dead, but Kong Ming was released, it could be considered as giving ancestor Xianshun face. They must have been the ones looking for trouble first, so Patriarch Xianshun could only suffer in silence. He didn't know how many of Patriarch Xuanshun's disciples were left. Most of them were probably dead, right? All right then, Boss Lin Yi, I'm leaving. Kong Ming heaved a sigh of relief, as if he had been pardoned. He quickly turned around and ran. However, he suddenly thought of the waiter's dead body and did not dare to turn back. Take this person's corpse back. There was no point for Lin Yi to keep it. Also, you can take the corpses of the 4 overseas experts as well. However, this staff is a good weapon. I'm confiscating it. Of course. Kong Ming didn't dare to say no. Returning the corpse to him was already good enough. The people from the Song family quickly carried out 4 woven silk bags and threw them on the ground beside the waiter's corpse. Kong Ming Ming put these things into his car, then jumped into the car and sped away. Looking at Kong Ming Ming's back as he left, Lenny didn't say anything else. Instead, he turned to the people from the Song family and said, "He probably won't come again. There shouldn't be many experts left in the Five Elements sect. Even if there are experts at the full circle of heaven stage, Xiao Rui and Second Grandpa have a chance of winning. Moreover, they won't come to die." Wow, brother-in-law, you're so handsome. You've only broken through one level, and you can instantly kill experts at the peak of the late stage of heaven stage? Song Lingray looked at Lin curiously. Do you know that the mission from the Overseas Cultivators Association was for me to kill you? I know. Lin didn't expect Song Lingray to not be embarrassed after knowing his identity. Instead, she acted like this. When do you plan to do it? While I'm sleeping. Haha. How is that possible? I'm not that stupid. Song Lingray shook her head. If I kill you, what about my sister? Moreover, I can't beat you. What if you're dreaming and kill me in one hit? How am I going to explain that? Lenny smiled. He didn't expect the awkwardness between them to be resolved so easily. So, young hero Ling is Lenny. No wonder the Overseas Cultivators Association suffered such a big loss. This time, even the Five Elements sect and the Firewolf gang suffered heavy losses. They should really regret being enemies with you. Song Xianghua also said, "It's all right. I can only kill experts at the full circle of heaven stage in one hit after I broke through. Otherwise, I would have to fight them twice before." Lin, he sweated a little. Brother-in-law, what kind of mental cultivation method and martial arts technique are these? Why are they so powerful? Can I cultivate it? Song Lingray asked. If you can bear hardships, you can cultivate it too. However, this mental cultivation method is extremely masculine. You're a girl, so you shouldn't be able to cultivate it. Lenny said, "Moreover, it seems that other than me, it's difficult for others to make progress in their cultivation." He was talking about the space in the Jade Pendant. Without the space in the Jade Pendant, Lin Yi's art of dragon mastery would always be stagnant. All right, forget it then. Song Lingray shook her head. Brother-in-law, do you know about the Heaven Stage trial? The Heaven Stage trial? What's that? He shook his head. He seemed to have vaguely heard of it, but he wasn't sure. It's a trial initiated by the Five Elements sect. I heard that the trial this time is the final list of candidates who can participate in the Heaven Stage meeting. Only the cultivators who successfully pass the trial have the opportunity to attend the Heaven Stage meeting. Song Lingray explained. Heaven Stage meeting? What does that mean? Lenny asked. The Heaven Stage meeting is a meeting for everyone to discuss how to land on the Heaven Stage Island. Only those who attend the meeting are qualified to participate in the plan to land on the island. Song Lingray said, "Oh, I see." In other words, if all the cultivators want to participate in the Heaven Stage meeting and obtain the opportunity to advance to the Heavenly Tao, they must first participate in the trial. Right? Lin roughly understood what Song Lingray meant. To be honest, he didn't know these things before, and no one told him. You can say that, but every ancient sect and ancient family has a fixed quota of participants. However, this person's strength must be at the peak of the late stage of Heaven Stage. If not, it's considered as giving up the opportunity. Song Lingray said, as for other cultivators, not everyone can participate in the Heaven Stage trial. There are also conditions. There are conditions? What conditions? Lenny asked quickly. Although he felt that there was no problem if he forced himself to participate in the Heaven Stage meeting, it was better to go according to normal circumstances if there were other feasible paths. Chapter 3440. So, individual cultivators don't have a chance. He was slightly stunned. Doesn't this mean that individual cultivators are rejected? No, individual cultivators also have a chance. In order to balance things out, the rules for individual cultivators to participate in the trial have been established many years ago. That is, individual cultivators who have a fragment of the map of the Heavenly Stage Island can use one of the fragments as a registration qualification to participate in the trial of the Heavenly Stage. Song Ling Rue said. However, this map fragment was hidden very secretly in the past. I guess there are not many individual cultivators who have it. A fragment of the map of the Heavenly Stage Island? Lin Yi's heart moved slightly. Could it be the map fragment that he collected? He didn't know what it was before, but now it seemed that it was really possible. Yes, but of course, it is not the real map of the Heavenly Stage Island. It is a copy of the map. After the 5 Elements sect copied it, it was cut and distributed. The purpose is to let individual cultivators have the opportunity to participate in the trial. Song Ling Rue said. It turned out to be an admission ticket. Lenny nodded. That made sense. If it really was some kind of treasure map, there wouldn't be a single piece missing. It would be too hard to gather all of them. But if it was an admission ticket, only one of them could be used. This would also explain why these maps were so well hidden. Then, if I don't have a map fragment, does that mean I can't go? Lenny asked, unfazed. In theory, yes. But this time, in order to let me kill you, the Overseas Cultivators Association arranged for me to participate in the trial. Brother-in-law, you will also be allowed to participate, Song Ling Rue said. Why? Does the Overseas Cultivators Association have the ability to influence the 5 Elements sect's decision? Lin, he was slightly stunned. But that's not right. The 5 Elements sect is now working with that center, so the 5 Elements sect and the Overseas Cultivators Association should be opposing each other. How can they influence each other? I'm the only one who's opposing me. Song Ling Rue said with a wry smile. Actually, I know a secret. The president of our Overseas Cultivators Association, He Luan, is the younger brother of the current acting sect master of the 5 Elements sect, Ancestor Xianxin. What? Lin Yi's eyes widened. He didn't expect there to be such a secret. These two were actually brothers? The relationship between the two was really complicated. That's right. Elder Xuanxin's real name is He Jinwu. They are blood brothers. In the early years, He Jinwu was also a member of the 5 Elements sect. However, he drifted overseas and founded the Overseas Cultivators Association. Song Ling Rue said, only the higher-ups of the Overseas Cultivators Association, like my second grandpa, know these secrets. I didn't expect that. Lin sighed and said, so, in order for you to kill me, He Jinwu will ask Elder Xianxin to help me arrange a place for the heaven-level trial? I think so. Song Ling Rue nodded. But it's hard to say if they will now. After all, if they communicate with each other, it might reveal our relationship. I see. Lin, he didn't care. Even if he didn't arrange for him, he had the map fragment as an admission ticket to the heaven-level trial. At that time, it was not up to Elder Xianxin to change the rules announced by the 5 Elements sect. That would be too embarrassing. Kong Mingming left, the Song family also went back, and it was time for Lin Yi to go back. Xiao Shu was leaving, and Lin Yi had to pick up Little Geo to go to the Yellow Earth sect. There wasn't much time left. The listing of the 1st and 2nd grade automatic medicinal cauldrons almost wiped out the business of the Heavenly Elixir sect. The entire medicinal cauldron market and the 1st and 2nd grade elixir market were almost monopolized by the 1st and 2nd grade automatic medicinal cauldrons. This made Elder Xianxin depressed to death. Miss Lan, when will Dr. Benjamin too be able to crack the latest medicine cauldron? Patriarch Xianxin asked every day. Soon. Science and technology are not like cultivation. How can it be so fast? Mr. Xianxin, don't be impatient. There will be an answer soon. Miss Lan said. Report dash. Suddenly, a disciple shouted loudly outside the door. Who? What's the matter? Old Ancestor Xianxin asked. Now, little one was dead. Little heir had gone to cause trouble for Lin Yi, and the remaining disciples of old Ancestor Xianxin were either dead or crippled. Xianxin hadn't found anyone to replace Little Heir yet, so the disciple who shouted was in charge of cleaning the Soul Jade plate room. Reporting to Elder Xianxin, something bad has happened. The disciple hurriedly walked into Elder Xuanxin's room and said, Second Senior Brother's Soul Jade card is broken. What? At this moment, Elder Xuanxin's head suddenly buzzed. He suddenly stood up and stared at the disciple. What did you say? Little Fool's soul jade card is broken. Are you sure? Elder Xianxian, how can I lie? It happened just now, the disciple said carefully with a bitter face. Take me to see. Elder Xianxian was anxious. He didn't care that Miss Lan was still beside him. He rushed out of the room and followed the disciple. Miss Lan didn't care about this. She also frowned. She knew Little Fool's strength. He was a top-notch expert at the Great Perfection Realm. If something happened to him now, what did that mean? The three reformed disciples of the Zhao family were probably dead. Was this Lin Yi really that powerful? He could actually kill so many people? Miss Lan also followed. They arrived at the place where the soul jade tablet was stored. She saw Patriarch Xianxian stride to the front of a broken tablet. His gaze was a little dull. As expected, Little Fool is also finished. Looking at the row of broken soul jade cards, Elder Xianxian seemed to have aged a lot at this moment. What kind of sin did he commit? Could it be that he had plotted to persecute and drive out Elder Xianxian back then? And now, Boss Bai's disciple had come to take revenge on him? Which of these disciples' deaths had nothing to do with Lin Yi? Mr. Xianxian, my condolences. If something happens to Little Fool, those three experts of the Zhao family probably won't be able to return. Miss Lan sighed and said, It seems that I'm not the only one who's suffered heavy losses. It's the same on your side. We all have a common enemy. Although that's the case, it would be great if you could really restrain your grief. Lin Yi, I must kill you. Elder Xianxian shouted with a ferocious expression. By the way, where's the illuminating jade card? Is he all right? Chapter 34-41. Senior Brother Kang's memorial tablet is very good. There's nothing wrong with it. The disciple quickly said, That's good. Patriarch Xianxian breathed a sigh of relief and nodded. In that case, Kong Ming will be back soon. Let's wait for him to come back and see the details. Patriarch Xianxian was right. This time, Kong Ming didn't dare to go back to the Kong family to show off. After leaving the Song family, he hurriedly drove back to the Five-Element sect. That night, Patriarch Xianxian saw Kong Ming who had returned. Father-in-law, it's not good. Lin Yi is too powerful. No, we're simply nurturing a tiger. We should have killed him long ago. As soon as Kong Ming entered the door, he shouted incoherently. What do you mean? If we could have killed him, we would have done it long ago. Why would we have waited until now? Patriarch Xianxian frowned. At this moment, he had temporarily calmed down from his sadness. He stared at Kong Ming and said, I already know about Little Fool. Tell me in detail what's going on. Is Lin Yi really that powerful? It's like this. According to your suggestion, I went to Yanjing City first. Little Fool and I stayed in a nearby hotel to observe the Song family situation. Kong Ming said, After a few days of observation, we didn't find any people from the Pali clan, so I planned to test Lin. As he spoke, Kong Ming recounted the events in detail to Patriarch Xianxian. However, when he heard that they went to the door and Lin Yi killed Little Fool with one palm, Patriarch Xianxian completely lost his composure this time. What did you say? Lin Yi killed Little Fool with one palm? Is that true? Patriarch Xianxian felt that it was a little unbelievable. Even he didn't dare to say that he could kill a heaven-stage great perfection expert in one go, because it was impossible. It's true. Father-in-law, why would I lie to you? Isn't this boosting the morale of others and destroying our own? Kong Xiaoming smiled bitterly. I saw it with my own eyes. Then, what about the three Zhao clan experts? Was he also killed by Lin Yi? Miss Lan asked. No, I haven't finished yet. Those three experts from the Zhao family are really traitors. After they pissed themselves, they ran away. I couldn't even stop them. Kong Ming smiled bitterly and said, Not only did they surrender, but they also told Lin Yi about our cooperation. Lin Yi is now dissatisfied with us. They ran away? Patriarch Xianxian frowned immediately. The three of them were too gutless, weren't they? What kind of people were they? He clearly had the strength, but he didn't even have the courage to fight. He was too trashy. Yeah, I really don't know what to say, Kong Ming said helplessly. Originally, according to our previous analysis, Although Lin Yi can kill experts who are above his level, he should also have to pay a certain price under some special circumstances. He can't kill them consecutively. Therefore, if the three of them besieged Lin Yi at this time, it was still very likely that they could kill Lin Yi. But who would have thought that before I could give the order, they ran away first? AI, Miss Lan, this time, it's not that our five elements sect didn't contribute, but you saw the situation. Patriarch Xianshun turned to look at Miss Lan and said, "It's not your fault this time." Miss Lan shook her head. However, she was dispensable. She didn't hate Lin Yi that much. Her main purpose of staying here was actually to study the bio-human transformation. Even if Lin Yi was hateful, it couldn't be said to be a feud. Since this person was so powerful, Miss Lan planned to avoid conflict with him for the time being. It's good that Miss Lan can understand. Patriarch Xianxin nodded. Don't worry, we will definitely get rid of this Lin Yi. Okay, since it's confirmed that it was done by Lin Yi and the others, then I will go back and rest first. Miss Lan nodded and left. At this moment, only Patriarch Xianshun and Kong Ming were left in the room. Father-in-law, we must get rid of Lin Yi this time. If we don't get rid of this person, he will definitely become a problem for us in the future. Kong Ming said, now, he is an expert at the peak of the middle stage of Heaven Stage. If he continues to grow, we won't be a match for him at all. That's right. Patriarch Xianxin nodded and strengthened the belief in his heart. He said, how about this? You will start refining pills tomorrow and refine the extreme chi gathering pill. You must quickly kill Lin Yi. If you wait any longer, it will be too late. Okay, I will start refining pills tomorrow. Kong Ming actually thought so too. Lin Yi's strength level was getting higher and higher. If this continued, if Lin Yi really fell to the great perfection of Heaven Stage, then the chi gathering pill would have no effect on Lin Yi. At that time, even if it was refined for Lin Yi might not want it. Therefore, this matter had to be done as soon as possible. Otherwise, it would be too late. Sigh, although this move is a little despicable, I have to do it. Even if Boss Bai blames me, I have to do it. Patriarch Xianshun finally made up his mind. Before, it was because Boss Bai wanted to train a wood element inheritor, so he had to save some face for Lin Yi. But now, Lin Yi had reached the point where he had to get rid of him. All right, father-in-law, I'll put down everything I'm doing and focus on refining elixirs for a while. Kong Ming nodded and said. He had also made up his mind. He had to refine pills and kill Lin Yi. I will communicate with Boss Bai and sound him out. At the same time, I will talk about the Heaven Stage trial. Patriarch Xianshun said, according to the normal rules, he is also the leader of the Five Elements sect. I have to give him face and let him arrange for his disciple to participate in the trial. Lin Yi. Kong Ming was slightly stunned. Lin Yi is still coming to the trial? Then how are we going to deal with him? Second senior brother has fallen, and the three experts of the Zhao family are also finished. Only the young leader of the Sky Silkworm transformation is left. He is no match for Lin Yi, right? It's not Lin Yi. Boss Bai's spot can only be given to Guan Xian. Lin Yi can't come. If I don't agree, he can't participate in the trial. Patriarch Xianshun said lightly, since we are going to use pills to kill him, why let him participate in the trial? Is he here to cause trouble? Don't let this kind of person come. He is related to several inheritors. I'm afraid that something will go wrong. Well, that's good. Then I can go and practice with peace of mind. Kong Ming breathed a sigh of relief. Previously, what he looked forward to the most was to kill Lin Yi during the Heaven Stage trial. But now, what he was most afraid of was that Lin Yi would participate in the trial. These were two completely different feelings. Chapter 3442. Eldest Senior Brother. It's me. Patriarch Xianshun said. Xianshun? What's the matter? Boss Bai asked lightly. The Heaven Step trial is about to begin. Logically speaking, you also have a spot on your side. When will you give me your disciples' information so that I can complete the registration? Patriarch Xianshun probed. You mean Lin Yi? Boss Bai was slightly stunned. Don't you have his information? You're letting Linny come? You're not letting Guan Xian come? Patriarch Xianxin asked. Guan Xian? Boss Bai was slightly stunned. Inheritors also need to participate in the trial. Inheritors must participate in the trial. This time, I will arrange for all inheritors to receive the final inheritance in the trial ground. They will all be promoted to the peak of heaven-level late stage, and their physiques will also undergo the final and complete change in preparation for the final plan. Patriarch Xianshan said. Then, Lin Yi can't participate? Boss Bai frowned. To be honest, he originally wanted to let Lin Yi go and then wait for Lin Yi to pass the trial before taking him to participate in the heaven-level meeting. But now, he couldn't even participate in the trial. Wasn't that equivalent to being rejected by the heaven-level meeting? Then, wouldn't the opportunity to advance to Heavenly Dao be with Lin Yi? This wasn't what Boss Bai wanted to see. In fact, he also knew that Patriarch Xianshun was deliberately making things difficult. Wasn't the Five Elements sect in charge of the registration for the heaven-level trial? If he let Lin Yi go, Lin Yi would definitely be able to go, but the main problem was on Patriarch Xuanshun's side. Let's see, Patriarch Xianshun said. Right now, Lin Yi's strength is still too low. He chased after Kong Ming to help him refine the qi-gathering pill. If his strength is higher, then there's no harm in letting him participate. The main thing is that I'm afraid that he'll die because he's too weak. Kong Ming? Alchemy? Qi-gathering pill? Boss Bai also knew about this, but the so-called Lin Yi was too weak was just Elder Xuanshun's excuse. Yes, but Zhao Ming's standards are limited. I don't know if he can successfully refine it. Even if he can, I'm afraid that Lin Yi will get sick from eating it. So, when you have time, persuade him not to chase after Zhao Ming to refine pills, Patriarch Xianshan said. Of course, Boss Bai didn't know Elder Xuanshun's kind of mind. He just hinted to Boss Bai that Lin Yi wouldn't blame him even if he died. Therefore, Boss Bai said angrily, "You have to keep your promise. This is the junior's business. Let's leave it alone." All right then, Patriarch Xianshun sighed, pretending to be displeased. In fact, he was overjoyed. Boss Bai was still as gullible as before. Everything was under his control. Anything else? Asked Boss Bai. There's nothing else. Since you've said so, I'll ask Kong Ming to concoct pills. I don't care if he dies, Patriarch Xianshan said. Can you die from eating qi-gathering pill? Even if you don't eat it well, you won't get sick. Do you think you know more than me when discussing alchemy with me? Boss Bai asked lightly. Haha, of course not. Forget it. I'll hang up if there's nothing else. As for Guan Xian, you should also prepare for her to participate in the Heaven Class trial, Patriarch Xianshun said. After hanging up the phone, Patriarch Xianshun was very excited. This time, Lin Yi died from eating it. He could say that he had already told Boss Bai about it, but Boss Bai didn't listen to him. This time, he died because he deserved it. Lin Yi returned to Donghai City from the Song family. Shu was leaving. She had received an official notice from House Yu. So this time, Xiao Chun was going back to send her to Fiery Mountain. When he arrived at Donghai City, Lin Yi already saw Yui sitting in the living room of the villa. Yushu was a little depressed. During this period, she understood everything. She knew about House Yu's efforts all these years, and she also knew her own identity. This made her force a smile during this period of time. In fact, she was very lonely and repulsed in her heart. After so many years, she suddenly realized that the beliefs that she had been holding on to all these years didn't exist. Yu Xiaochan was her father. She had never met this father, but he gave her endless pressure. He made up a big lie with Yui, causing Yushu to have no father-daughter feelings for him at all. He didn't let her go back to House Yu, and she was too lazy to go back. The Chen family was her home. The villas in Donghai and Songshan were her home. Where Lin Yi and Meng Yao were, that was her home. Mr. Yui, you're here. Lin Yi entered the villa and nodded to him. Yui smiled bitterly. Yushu's identity was exposed, and he didn't need to hide it anymore. He looked at Lin Yi and said, Miss Yushu doesn't care about me, and she doesn't talk to me. Young hero Lin, you see, it's time for her to leave for Fiery Mountain. Before, Yui could still use Yushu's parents to threaten her. That was a high and mighty attitude. But now, Yushu's identity was exposed. She was also the young Miss of Houseu. How could Yui dare to order her around? Besides, even if he wanted to order her around, it had to be Yushu who listened to him. Yushu was no longer the Yushu of the past. With Lin Yi's protection, not to mention the hidden Houseu, even the Five Elements sect didn't dare to order her around. In the world of practitioners, strength was everything. To put it bluntly, whoever was stronger would have more influence. Shu, pack up and get ready. We have to accept the inheritance sooner or later. The sooner we accept it, the sooner we can reunite with Yao Yao. Isn't this the life you've always wanted? Lin Yi smiled. Shield bro, you're back. Shu didn't say I wouldn't go. I just don't have anything in common with this old man. Yushu saw that Lin Yi was back. She was like a different person from before. She was happy all of a sudden, and Yui didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Haha, that's good. I told you that there's no way you wouldn't want to go. Lin Yi smiled. Then let's pack up and get ready to go. And then, Shu's packed up. We're just waiting for Shield bro, Yushu said as she skipped up the stairs. Evidently, she was going to get something. Yui saw that Yushu agreed to go to Fiery Mountain so easily. He didn't know what to say. He looked at Lin Yi and said, Young hero Lin, you're the best. I've been trying to persuade her for a long time, but Miss Yushu just won't talk to me. Chapter 3443. Miss Yushu is indeed. I'm considered lucky. It seems like Miss Yushu still has some feelings for me, because I'm from Houseu. Yui nodded and laughed at himself. Right, what's the arrangement? Are we going to Fiery Mountain directly? Lin Yi asked. Yes, it's already arranged. We'll just go there directly. Yui said, I hope that Master Lin can accompany us on the way. Otherwise, I'm afraid that Miss Yushu will have some conflict. Don't worry, I'll definitely go, not only because of Shu, but also because I promised a friend that I'd help him save someone. Lin Yi was talking about Hui Yinyan's playmate, Yang Shuasian. That's good. Yui breathed out in relief. It didn't take long for Yushu to pack up and come downstairs with a bag on her back. Just this much? Lin Yi looked at Yushu's backpack and was surprised. Wasn't this too little? There's not much to take, actually. It's just a laptop with pictures and videos of me, Yao Yao, and Shield bro in there. Shu can look at it when she's lonely. I'm sure there are other daily necessities there, Yushu said. Lin Yi nodded silently. Yushu was right. What didn't Fiery Mountain have? The young head, Hui Yanyan, was Lin Yi's follower. If Yushu went, she'd be treated like a VIP. Right, where's Xinyan and Pangolin? Lin Yi asked. Xinyan sis went to school. Pangolin's resting in his room. Yu Dake went to Songshan to see Xiaoka, Yushu said. Oh, that's why I didn't see them, Lin Yi realized. School started again in the blink of an eye. Lin Yi took out his phone and was about to call by Wei Tuo to tell him that he couldn't go to school for a while. He'd ask him to take care of Xinyan, so that he'd be the first to know if anything happened to her. Although Lin Yi had left a lot of energy stones for Xinyan, he was still worried that something might happen to her. He dialed by Wei Tuo's number, but the sound of the phone being turned off came from the other side, which made Lin Yi slightly surprised. It was not evening, but daytime. Why didn't Bai Wei Tuo turn on his phone? Could it be that he was in class? However, Bai Wei Tuo would also set his phone to vibrate during class. With that in mind, Lin Yi sent a message to Xinyan. Xinyan, I'm back. I'm bringing Shu to Fiery Mountain. Tell Bai Wei Tuo to give me a call when you see him. It wasn't long before Xinyan replied. I'm at school. Isn't Bai Wei Tuo traveling overseas? He's not back yet. He's not back yet. Lin Yi looked at the message. School was already starting, and he wasn't back yet. What a joke. However, Lin Yi didn't think much about it. According to Bai Wei Tuo's exam results last semester, he also had the right to ask for leave. This was the privilege of Boss Bai's class. Just like Lin Yi, the top few students in the final exam also had the right to ask for leave whenever they wanted. All right then, we're leaving. Are you coming back? Lin Yi asked. No, I still have classes here. Have a safe trip. Xinyan didn't come back because she had just seen Lin Yi. There was no need for her to come back. Putting away his phone, Lin E nodded to Yui. Let's go, shall we leave now? Did you drive here? No. Yui was a bit embarrassed. He was a practitioner, and he rarely drove. He always walked, maintaining his ancient style. I'll drive then. Lin E didn't say much. The three left the courtyard and got on the Jeep Cherokee. Fiery Mountain was deep in the Hakanamada Desert, so Lin E knew the general direction. Thank you, Master Lin. Yui nodded and sat in the back, giving the passenger seat to Yushu. The car went all the way to the Hakanamada Desert. Lin E had driven this road back and forth many times. He was very familiar with it, but this time he felt a little sad. Yushu was in the car, looking here and there, curious about everything, but Lin E could see the disappointment in her eyes. Even if she didn't show it, Lin E could still feel it. However, he didn't expose her. Instead, he accompanied her and laughed along the way. They talked about a lot of interesting things, including what happened in the Song family and Shao heir of the Five Elements sect being killed. That elder Xianxun of Five Elements sect must be angry to death, right? Most of his disciples were crippled or killed by you. He's really unlucky to go against Shield Bro. Yushu laughed after hearing it, and then said sarcastically, I don't know why the hidden house you is so afraid of this Five Elements sect. They really have no guts. Yui sat in the back, and he was a little embarrassed. He thought to himself, you have Lin E to support you, so you're not afraid? But we are. The Five Elements sect can't do anything to Lin E, but destroying House U is a piece of cake for them. Moreover, they didn't know that Lin E could grow so strong. When they first heard about Lin E was still a mystic class master, and in the blink of an eye, he stood at the peak of the whole world of practitioners. Who could explain this change? Okay, Shu. Some things have to be faced eventually. You can't not see your birth parents for the rest of your life, can you? Lin E smiled bitterly. When that time comes, I'm afraid Xiao Ning won't be happy, right? Okay, then I'll listen to Shield Bro. Whatever you say. Yushu nodded. They talked and laughed along the way, and finally, the three of them entered Hakanamada Desert. However, the direction of Fiery Mountain was completely different from the direction of Paoli Clan. The desert was very big, and they were in the opposite direction. It was already very hot in the desert, but as the car moved forward, the weather became hotter and hotter. They were probably not far from Fiery Mountain. However, Lin E and Yushu were fine, but Yui was sweating profusely. He used to be the strongest among them, and he couldn't complain at this moment. He could only endure it silently, but he almost fainted in the end. Then, Lin E turned on the car's air conditioner, and Yushu laughed like crazy. Young hero Lin, why didn't you turn on the air conditioner earlier? Yui felt a little better and said gloomily. Chapter 3444. Yeah, we're having fun, Yushu nodded. Yui had been teased and mocked by Yushu along the way, but he accepted it. Who asked him to play the bad guy in front of Yushu? It was natural for him to be teased now, not to mention Yushu's identity as the young miss of House U. Even if Lin E was beside her, he wouldn't dare do anything. Finally, it was no longer a desert in front of them, but a place that looked like a mountain. A mountain gate appeared in front of them, blocking their advance. Of course, they could go around it, but subconsciously, Lin E felt that this was their destination. This is this fiery mountain. Lin E looked at the map Yui gave him, comparing it to the map. It should be here. Yui had never been here before, but this was the only possible place in this direction. Just when everyone was confused, suddenly, two men in fiery red robes appeared in front of Lin Yi's car. They shouted at Lin E and the others, "This is private land. If you are an explorer, please go back. We don't accept explorations here, and it's very dangerous." Lin E opened the window and looked at the two men. "This is Fiery Mountain?" The two men paused. Hearing Lin E say the words Fiery Mountain, they were surprised. "Who are you? Why are you here? What's your purpose?" With that, the two showed their strength at the early phase of Sky Class. From their point of view, since Lin E knew about this place, he could also be a practitioner. The reason they showed their strength was to intimidate Lin E. After all, The early phase of Sky Class, even in the ancient times, was not weak. We're from the Central Plains. I'm the representative of the Hidden House U.E. We've been ordered to meet the Rocket Cannon Headmaster. This is a letter from the head of our Hidden House U. At this time, Yuan walked down from the car and spoke to the two respectfully. However, in order to show that he was a cultivator and not a fake, he had to make sure that he was not a fake. Yui also revealed his strength as an early-stage heaven ranker. Hidden House U. One of them glanced sideways at Yui, and his attitude became incomparably cold. Although Yui's strength was the same as theirs, he didn't look up to him at all. How could a hidden aristocratic family's early-stage heaven rank expert compare to an ancient sect? That's right, the Hidden House U. Yuan nodded. Hidden House U? He had never heard of such a small family. If you want to see our sect master, then just wait. We will inform you when we have time. The man said arrogantly. He didn't have the slightest intention of immediately informing the sect master. He was slightly stunned. Then he smiled bitterly and added, Our patriarch sent us here under the order of Patriarch Xianshan of the Five Elements sect. Oh? What do you mean? You still want to use the Five Elements sect to pressure us? All right. You can leave if you don't want to see us. The man looked at Yui coldly and said mockingly, You guys. He was really helpless. He didn't expect these two to be so difficult to talk to. But this was an ancient sect, not some other aristocratic family or hidden aristocratic family. So it was not easy to make these two obedient and help. He couldn't stand it anymore. He didn't like to use his identity and strength to pressure people. But these two people were really a bit too much. He looked at them indifferently and said, Let Xiaoyun come out and welcome me. Huh? The man was stunned and turned to look at Lin-Yi. But then he laughed. Ha ha ha. Welcome you? Who do you think you are? Welcome you? What a joke. A small hidden house you. Do they really think they're that big? It's up to you whether you want to notify them or not. If Yang Shuasian dies, you two will be responsible, Lin-Yi said indifferently. What? The two of them were stunned. They looked at each other in shock. Before, they thought that Lin-Yi was also from the Hidden House U. But Lin-Yi said Xiaoyun and Yang Shuasian's names one after another. This wasn't as simple as a Hidden House U. Xiaoyun was fine, but Yang Shuasian was an elder's grandson. He didn't show his face much. Not only did Lin-Yi say it, but he also pointed out something. It meant that he knew Yang Shuasian was injured. If that was the case, who are you? The leading man in red looked at Lin-Yi and asked, Xiaoyun call me boss. Who do you think I am? Lin-Yi said indifferently. The two's expression changed. They hesitated. Although they didn't know if it was true or not, they still said, Please wait, we'll go notify them. May I know your name? Lin-Yi said indifferently. What? You're Lin-Yi. The leading man in red staggered and almost fell on his butt. He could ignore Yui's name, but Lin-Yi's name was very famous. Moreover, Lin-Yi wasn't bragging. Their young master, Xiaoyun, had been talking about this name recently. He told everyone he met that his boss was Lin-Yi and how amazing he was. Whatever he did today, he would do tomorrow. As long as it was news of Lin-Yi in the ancient era, he would find out and tell the people in the sect. Although everyone's ears had calluses from hearing it, they also remembered this name deeply. They knew how amazing Lin-Yi was. He could even kill the masters of the Five Elements sect. He wasn't a simple character, so the man in red was stunned. The other man in red quickly pulled the stunned man in red and said, So, it's young hero Lin. We've heard your great name for a long time. We admire you. Young hero Lin, please come with us and rest in the guest room. We'll immediately notify the young master to welcome you. If this person was really Lin-Yi, then it was normal for him to humble himself. At that time, not only would Xiaoyun not scold them, but he would also praise them. However, if it wasn't for Lin-Yi, then Xiaoyun would naturally deal with him. There was no loss. Well, you lead the way. Lin-Yi nodded indifferently. Yui was dumbfounded. It turned out that Lin-Yi's name was already well known in these ancient sections. He was really a powerful character. He'd been talking to them for half a day, and they didn't even bother reporting to him. But the moment Lin Yi opened his mouth, the two of them became so respectful. They really couldn't be compared. Chapter 34:45. After entering the mountain entrance, Lin Yi couldn't help but gasp in amazement. This was actually a scenic area surrounded by mountains. Outside was a circle of tall mountains, and inside there was another huge mountain. If it wasn't so hot here, it would probably be a good tourist attraction. Under the lead of two men in red, Lin Yi, Yu Shu, and Yui were brought to a place that looked like a gazebo. What surprised Lin Yi was that on the gazebo, there were three big words written in flamboyant calligraphy. Guest Hall. He didn't expect that the guest hall of Fiery Mountain was actually outdoors. This also showed how hot this place was throughout the year. Of course, this was also because Fiery Mountain had inherited ancient customs. Otherwise, they could have installed air conditioning indoors like the Pali clan. Lin Yi and the other two sat down, and the disciples served herbal tea. The herbal tea was refreshing and delicious, a specialty of this place. After drinking it, Lin Yi couldn't help but praise it. As for Yu Shu, she asked the disciple to bring more herbal tea. The disciple didn't dare to delay and quickly agreed. Not long after, before the disciple returned, he saw Hua Shouyun rushing over in a hurry. Seeing Lin Yi, he was surprised and happy. "Boss Lin Yi, you're finally here. I've missed you so much. I wanted to find you, but I was afraid that you wouldn't be here." "Haha, I was really busy a while ago. Otherwise, I would have come here long ago." Lin Yi nodded. "This is Yu Shu, your inheritor here. I'll leave her in your care from now on." "Ah, don't worry. Isn't this sis-in-law, Shu? Treat this place like your own home." Hua Shouyun saw that Yu Shu was an inheritor and was a little surprised. He didn't expect Shu to really be an inheritor. Didn't this mean that from now on, she and Lin Yi were a family? Shu likes this title. I'll give you 10 points. Yu Shu nodded happily. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile, and Yui didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Not long after, an old man walked over quickly as if he was flying. Before he arrived, his voice could be heard. "Is young hero Lin here? I, Bazooka, have failed to welcome you from afar. Please forgive me." Behind him, there was an old man who spoke respectfully. "This old man is Yang Dingtian. I welcome young hero Lin's arrival." Yang Dingtian was obviously more humble than Rocket Launcher. Obviously, he knew that if he wanted his grandson to live, then he had to let Lin Yi take action. Therefore, he simply regarded himself as being in the same position as Hua Shouyun. It turns out that Elder Hua and Elder Yang are here. Lin Yi did not put on airs at this time and stood up directly. After all, they gave Lin Yi face. Lin Yi also gave them face. This was Burning Cloud sect, so Lin Yi could not be as arrogant as he was in other sections. "I am Yu Yi of the Hidden House Yu. Under the orders of Yu Xing, I am escorting the inheritor here. This is a letter from our house Yu. Please have a look, Elder Hua." Yu Yi bowed respectfully and presented a letter. "Ha! So it is Mr. Yu Yi. Please rise. Those who came with young hero Lin are our Fiery Mountain's distinguished guests. No need to stand on ceremony." Rocket Launcher laughed and quickly walked over to take the letter. Yu Yi almost teared up. It was so different being with Lin Yi. If Lin Yi did not come, and Yu Yi came by himself, how difficult would it be to enter this door? And enter the door. It might not be so easy to see Rocket Launcher, and even if he saw a Rocket Launcher, he might not be so enthusiastic. Of course, what Yui didn't know was that Hua Mingyan knew Yu Shu. If he knew that Yu Shu was the inheritor, he would probably be just as enthusiastic. "Don't worry about him. This old man is annoying," Yu Shu said. Rocket Launcher paused. He looked at Lin Yi and asked, "This lady is Grandpa." "She is Yu Shu. She is our inheritor and also Boss Lin Yi's mistress." Hua Shouyun quickly introduced Yu Shu. He was afraid that his grandpa would be disrespectful to Yu Shu and make Lin Yi unhappy. Rocket Launcher paused again and nodded. "So it is young hero Lin's mistress, Miss Chun. Sorry for not recognizing you." Don't worry. This is our fiery mountain. Treat it like your own home. We are not outsiders. Hui Yun is young hero Lin's follower. If there is anything, let him do it. Haha, then I won't hold back. Yushu was satisfied at least for now. This sect could be said to be Lin Yi's direct subordinates. If she wanted to contact Lin Yi, she could do so at any time. She was not as restrained as Tang Yun Sis and Xiao Xiao. Yushu is also from the Hidden House Yu. She just had some misunderstanding with the Hidden House Yu. Lin Yi explained. You sent her here this time. Okay, I understand. Rocket Launcher nodded. Okay, everyone. Let's go to the guest room and rest for a while. Tonight, we will host a banquet. How about it? No need. I will go see Yang Shuajian first. Lin Yi waved his hand. My purpose here is also for Hua Shoyun's brother, Yang Shuajian. This wouldn't it be too much trouble for young hero Lin? Yang Dingtian burst into tears. He didn't expect Lin Yi to go see Yang Shuajian right after he arrived. How could he not be touched? Boss, you know me well. Shall we go now? Hua Shoyun and Lin Yi were familiar with each other, so he was more casual. He looked at Lin Yi excitedly. Let's go. You lead the way. Lin Yi said, Mr. Yui, take Yushu to rest for a while. I will come back for the banquet tonight. No problem. Yui nodded. Young hero Lin, don't worry. Lin Yi nodded to Rocket Launcher and Yang Dingtian and followed Hua Shoyun to the cave where Yang Shuajian was. Although Rocket Launcher and Yang Dingtian wanted to follow, they were the hosts. They couldn't leave Yui and Yushu alone, so they could only give up. Chapter 34-46. Oh, Lin Yi paused. He didn't feel that hot. In fact, they had come to the Hakanamada Desert and entered Flaming Mountain. There was definitely heat, but it didn't feel like it was unbearably hot. Yui was sweating profusely, but Lin Yi and Yushu were fine. It was understandable that Yushu was the inheritor, but Lin Yi, right? Lin Yi was a practitioner of the 5 elements and 7 elements. He had a fire element in his body, so it was reasonable that he wasn't afraid of heat. Lin Yi also had the constitution that these fire element practitioners had, but he was stronger than them, not weaker than them. It's okay, I have a fire element in my body too. Lin Yi shook his head and quickly entered the cave. Yang Shuajian was lying on a rock in the cave, his face dark and blue, very ugly. If it wasn't for the very weak chi waves, Lin Yi would have thought that he was dead. But that didn't matter. As long as he was still breathing, Lin Yi would be able to heal him. Protect me. I'll heal him, said Lin Yi. In fact, there was no need for protection in Flaming Mountain. This was Hua Haoyun's territory, but Lin Yi was used to it. Okay, boss, don't worry. I won't let anyone disturb your treatment. Hua Haoyun said quickly. Lin Yi nodded and sat cross-legged. He used his hand to check Yang Shuajian's pulse, and then activated the art of Dragon Mastery to heal him. Yang Shuajian's injury was very serious. Even though Lin Yi was now at the perfect 3rd stage of the art of Dragon Mastery, he still needed some time to heal. Hua Haoyun looked at Lin Yi nervously, although he knew that Lin Yi was confident. But he couldn't relax until he saw Yang Shuajian recover. Time passed, minute by minute, second by second. Lin Yi finally stopped the incantation, and Yang Shuajian's face changed from green to red, although it was white with a hint of red. It wasn't very healthy, but it was obvious that he was like a normal person, just a little weak. All right, that's enough. Lin Yi stood up. He should wake up soon. That's great, boss. Thank you so much. Otherwise, Shuajian wouldn't be able to leave this cave. Hua Haoyun sighed. It's nothing. Lin Yi waved his hand. Hua Haoyun, it's our relationship. Don't be so polite. As he said this, Yang Shuajian opened her eyes in a daze. Before she could clearly see her surroundings, she shouted, "The everyday and everyday sect. You're so vicious." The environment of this cave was pretty much the same as the cave in the trial, and Yang Shuajian's memories were still stuck at the moment when she was hit by Nai Peo. That was why he subconsciously called out to her. "Shuajian, how are you?" Hua Haoyun heard Yang Shuajian's voice, surprised and happy. He quickly ran over and crouched down. Ah! Yang Shuaizhen heard Hua Haoyun's voice. She paused and opened her eyes to see that it was Hua Haoyun in front of her, not Zhang Naipeo. She let out a breath of relief. It's Huiyun, bro. Why am I here? Didn't I go to the trial? Shuaizhen, the trial is over. You were heavily injured by Zhang Naipeo of the Everyday sect, and you only had one breath left. In order to keep you alive, my grandpa put you in the cave on Flaming Mountain. That's why you've survived until now. Hua Haoyun explained. So that's how it is. Yeah, I thought I was going to die. Yang Shuaizhen nodded, but found it strange. Then how did I recover? Did you guys find me a 4th level supreme level pill? No, it's not that. It's my boss, Master Lin Yi, who saved you. Shuaizhen, get up. You have to thank boss for saving you. Hua Haoyun said. Lin Yi. Yang Shuaizhen paused. She had an impression of this name. He was the only one who could go against Zhang Naipeo in the trials. But why was he Hua Haoyun's boss now? But Yang Shuaizhen wasn't an idiot. Someone who could make Hua Haoyun respect him wholeheartedly had to have some skill, and just the fact that he could save her meant that he wasn't a normal person. Yang Shuaizhen quickly got up and bowed to Lin. Thank you, Master Lin, for saving me. I'll be like Huiyun bro in the future, doing everything I can for you. Haha, there's no need for that, as long as you're fine. Lin Yi smiled. In the future, train hard in the sect, and don't get into conflict with people like Zhang Naipeo with your arrogance. I understand. This trial also let me know that there's always someone better out there. Only people like Master Lin can look down on other practitioners. I'm still far from that level. Yang Shuaizhen had died once and understood many things. All right, it's time for the banquet. Let's go. Lin Yi nodded. Okay, I feel like I haven't eaten for a long time. I'm a little hungry. Yang Shuaizhen was happy. The three of them returned to the living room of Fiery Mountain. Yushu and Yu had already been arranged to rest, but Rocket Launcher and Yang Dingtian heard that Yang Shuaizhen had woken up and could walk on his own, as if nothing had happened, and ran over excitedly. Shuaizhen, are you all right? Yang Dingtian was so excited that he was shaking. In his mind, Lin Yi could save Yang Shuaizhen's life, and he could even make him a cripple, but now he could walk. Yes, Grandpa, not only that, but I still have my strength. This time, I have to thank Master Lin. Yang Shuaizhen was also very excited. Master Lin, I don't know what to say. I really can't thank you enough. Yang Dingtian looked at Lin Yi, tears running down his old face, and the gratitude in his heart could no longer be expressed in words. This is what I should do. Huiyun is my follower, and his friend is in trouble. I can't just ignore it. Lin Yi waved his hand. Boss, me too. You won't abandon me, will you? Yang Shuaizhen quickly said after hearing this. You're following Hua Xianyun, so naturally, you're following me. I won't just stand by and watch your matters. Lin Yi smiled. Haha, that's good. Yang Shuaizhen heard this and immediately became happy. Chapter 34-47. Although Lin Yi wanted to stay longer with Yushu, he had to send Yu Ning to the endless West Sea after sending her off. Lin Yi also had to say goodbye to Yu Ning and find little Jio before heading to Yellow Earth High Sect. In the past, Lin Yi always thought that it would be a while before the inheritors left, but he suddenly realized that it was already right in front of him. Was Sky Class Island about to open? Who knew it was on Sky Class Island? Would he meet Zhang Liju? In that case, would there be experts as common as the clouds? Would he be able to successfully land on Heaven Stage Island? In other words, could the Heaven Stage Island be successfully opened? All of this was unknown. Thinking of this, Lin Yi was a little lost, but for Yu Xiaoke, for Armadillo, for those inheritors, Lin Yi had to continue, no matter how difficult the road ahead was. Lin Yi had a feeling that Sky Class Island was the real beginning of his life. After all, he went from the lowest level of a practitioner to the height he was today. Lin Yi looked at the current world of practitioners and felt that the landscape was still too small. Those legendary figures, Lin Yi didn't meet any of them. 4th level refiner blacksmith, mender, and so on, as well as those powerful divine weapons. Lin Yi didn't meet any of them. Although there were Sky-class masters using Sky-class divine weapons, from what Lin Yi saw, most of them were infused with Qi and used with martial arts to achieve a stronger effect. But was a heaven-ranked divine weapon only used as a weapon to carry the load? Lin Yi felt that the current divine weapons were still a little lacking, and Shinnon Cauldron was a top-level divine weapon. It was just that it was broken, and he didn't know how to repair it. The next morning, Lin Yi said goodbye to Rocket, Yu Shu, and the others. He was going back to the hidden house with Yu Yi. On the way back, without Yu Shu's laughter, Lin Yi and Yu Yi didn't talk at all. And Yu Yi, he really didn't know what to say to Lin Yi. When they were almost at the hidden house, Yu Yi asked, "Young hero Lin, are you coming with me to the hidden house, Yu? Let's go see Xiao Ning. After all, she's about to leave," Lin Yi said sadly. "All right, young hero Lin." Yu Yi hurriedly nodded. Cars. They drove all the way to the hidden house, with Yu Yi sitting in the car didn't encounter any obstruction and went smoothly. Finally, it stopped at House Yu's parking lot. Yu Xing, who had rushed here after hearing the news, was also waiting in the parking lot. This time, Lin Yi's visit was different from the last time. Last time, although Yu Xing respected Lin Yi, he was also worried and afraid of the Five Elements sect behind him, so he didn't dare to be too close to Lin Yi. But now, Yu Xing had received the news of the Five Elements sect's death. Lin Yi actually killed so many Five Elements sect's disciples, and Elder Xianchen actually endured it. It was clear what this meant, and this time, Yu Yi also reported to Yu Xing truthfully about the trip to Fiery Mountain. Yu Xing knew that if it wasn't for Lin Yi, Yu wouldn't have been able to complete the mission so smoothly. "Young hero Lin, welcome to our hidden house Yu again." Yu Xing strode over and personally opened the car door for Lin Yi. "Elder Yu, no need to be so polite. With our relationship, you're like my grandfather. I'm too embarrassed to be so polite." Lin Yi quickly stopped Yu Xing and said, "Xiao Ning, Xiao Shu, and I are of the same generation. You can just treat me as a junior in the family." "Huh, all right, then I won't be so courteous. But young hero Lin, you don't have to be so courteous either. Just treat this as your own home." Yu Xing suddenly paused and said, "I heard that Mr. Lin has created a practitioners' union. I wonder if the hidden house you can join?" "Oh." Lin Yi paused and understood immediately. This was Yu Xing's way of showing his goodwill. Yu Xing had probably noticed something as well. Currently, in the world of practitioners, there weren't many who could touch Lin Yi. This way, the hidden house you wouldn't have to worry too much about the Five Elements sect. As long as Lin Yi could manage the hidden house that Elder Xianchen wouldn't dare to do anything unless he wanted all his disciples to die. You can sign up with Ling Shan from the Occult Investigation Department. She'll be in charge of the Occult Investigation Department from now on. She's the vice chairman of the association. She's also the vice chairman of the investigation department. All right, I'll remember it. I'll talk to the other hidden houses and sects about it. We'll all join and receive young hero Lin's protection." Yu Xing said. "All right, I'll have to trouble you then, Elder Yu." Lin Yi naturally wanted the other hidden houses and sects to join the union, but with Lin Yi's current status, it wasn't appropriate for him to ask them to join. "Elder Yu is doing this right now. Leave it to me then." Elder Yu nodded and said, "Right. Xiao Ning hasn't been in a good mood these 2 days. Young hero Lin, could you go talk to her for a bit?" "All right, that's why I'm here," Lin Yi replied. Under Yu Xing and Yu Yi's lead, Lin Yi came to Yu Ning's room. Yu Ning was sitting quietly in front of the window, deep in thought. She didn't turn around when she heard the footsteps. She only said softly, "I'm ready. We can leave for the Endless West Sea tomorrow. Xiao Ning, I'm here." Lin Yi walked in quickly, his heart aching. She was the same as Shu, shouldering such an important mission. Although she was the little princess of House Yu and seemed to be stronger than Yu Shu. In fact, Yu Shu was right. Yu Shu was much freer and happier than her. Yu Ning was a bird in a cage, unable to fly out of the cage of House Yu. She had no friends, and she couldn't do what she liked. She spent every day in loneliness. In the past, Lin Yi sympathized with Shu, but at this moment, Lin Yi felt that Yuning was the most pitiful one. Ah, Lin Yi, you're here? Yuning looked back with some surprise. Her eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. She didn't expect Lin Yi to come again before she left. Yeah, I just sent you away, so I came to see you. Lin Yi nodded. Actually, you don't have to be so sad. When the things on Heavenly Island are over, we can come back. No one can control us then. Chapter 3448. And Yuning heard Lin Yi's words and was suddenly filled with hope. She turned to look at Lin Yi. I've heard a lot about you these days. Now, you're even stronger than the ancient people, right? Girls always hoped that their Mr. Right was the best and the strongest, and Yuning was the same. Haha, I'm not that much stronger than them. At least, they can't do anything to me. Lin Yi smiled. So, in the future, you don't have to be afraid. I'll follow you all the way, including when you go to Sky Class Island. Yeah, you have so many wives, all inheritors, of course you have to follow. Yuning glanced at Lin Yi. Most importantly, I still have you, right? Lin Yi smiled as he held Yuning's hand. And Yuning responded with an inaudible sound. Yu Xing and Yu Yi had already retreated. They believed that nothing would happen between Lin Yi and Yuning. At this moment, Lin Yi was a senior master. In their hearts, he was an existence that they couldn't simply doubt. Lin Yi and Yuning didn't have much to say at this moment. When the two of them were together, they communicated more spiritually than words. It was a feeling and tacit understanding. The two of them stood in front of the window, hand in hand, under the sunset, enjoying the peace of parting. But time flew, and in the blink of an eye, the sun had set. House Yu's banquet had begun. Lin Yi and Yuning appeared in the banquet hall of House Yu, but no one said a word. Even Yu Xiaochun ignored them. Elder Yu, Uncle Yu. Lin Yi greeted Yu Xing and Yu Xiaochun politely. The two of them were flattered, especially Yu Xiaochun. At this moment, if he could say that Lin Yi was Yu Xiaochun's son-in-law, then Yu Xiaochun's status in the world of practitioners would instantly rise. Those ancient masters wouldn't dare provoke him. They'd take a detour. Who wasn't afraid of death? Young hero Lin, you're too polite. Yu Xiaochun quickly said, Quick, please sit. You're an important guest of the Hidden House Yu. I hope that young hero Lin will come visit more often in the future. Even if Ning leaves, this is still your home, isn't it? There's also Shu. Lin Yi paused. Yu Xiaochun meant that Yuning and Yu Shu would be with Lin Yi in the future. Of course, it would be after the Sky Class Island project, but at least he wouldn't have any conflict with Lin Yi. Thinking about it, this was actually the reality. Many of these large families prioritized benefits. Now that Lin Yi's reputation could bring them enough benefits, they would naturally have such an attitude. Even if Lin Yi, Yuning, and Yu Shu went to Sky Class Island in the future, there would still be a lot of Lin Yi's people in the common world. Unknowingly, Lin Yi's loyal followers had spread all over the realms, and their strength wasn't any weaker than Lin Yi's. Once those masters left, the world would be theirs. If the Hidden House Yu could ride on this momentum, they'd definitely continue to shine. Yu Xiaochun didn't even think about the Sky Class Island project. With his strength, it had nothing to do with him. Including Yu Xing, his first thought was to develop House Yu as well. He didn't think about breaking through to the next level, and so they were stuck at the hidden level. At most, they'd wait for Lin Yi to rise, and they'd rise to the ancient level. When that time came, perhaps many years later, they'd have the thought of breaking through to the next level. This was something that they could say and think about at any time. Because of the Hidden House Yu's attention, this meal was joyous and harmonious, and Yuning was very happy. Her father Yu Xiaochun had finally given her a clear answer. In the past, Yuning didn't care about others, but Yu Shu. Ever since she found out that Yu Shu was her sister, she'd been worried. It was normal for a practitioner like this to have multiple wives and concubines, so it wasn't surprising. However, for a pair of sisters to marry the same person at the same time was a bit unrealistic, and the families usually wouldn't do that in order to maximize their benefits. But now, It seemed that the family valued Lin Yi's strong charisma, and no one could be compared to him. So the hidden house Yu made the final decision. Happy times were always short-lived. Tomorrow morning, Yu Ning and Yu Yi would head to the endless West Sea, and Lin Yi couldn't go there. First, he didn't know anyone, and second, he had to send 2 Ran back to Huang Tugao sect. After saying goodbye to Yu Ning, Lin Yi also drove back to Donghai City. On the way, Lin Yi called by Wei Tuo again, but on the other side of the phone, it was still turned off. Lin Yi was a bit puzzled. The phones nowadays could be used for roaming, and even if he was overseas, the original number should still be able to receive calls. Even if the phone ran out of battery and was turned off, why was it still turned off? Could it be that there was a problem? But Bai Weiduo was just going for vacation. What problem could there be? In fact, what Lin Yi didn't know was that Bai Weiduo and his group really had a problem. Bai Weiduo and He Mei Wei went for a vacation, and Zhang Duopan and Fan Ganhe, who got the news, also followed. Zhang Duopan had been pursuing He Mei Wei, and even if Bai Weiduo and He Mei Wei went out for a vacation, he also followed. His purpose was to prevent Bai Weiduo and He Mei Wei from taking a step further. Because everyone was classmates, Zhang Duopan pretended to meet them at the airport, and he proposed to travel with Bai Weiduo. In fact, he just found someone to check the airline records, and he knew that Bai Weiduo and He Mei Wei were on the same flight. Although Bai Weiduo was unwilling, even if he was unwilling, they were on the same flight, and he couldn't chase them away. What's more, they were all classmates outside, so he couldn't go overboard. After all, Zhang Duopan said it in a dignified manner, and everyone met by chance, so they should travel together, and they could take care of each other. You should rely on your classmates when you're out. In front of her classmates, He Mei Wei didn't agree to share a room with Bai Weiduo, which made Bai Weiduo somewhat disappointed. Zhang Duopan and Fan Ganhe also stayed in the same hotel. Therefore, the 4 people traveled together every day, and it was quite harmonious, and there were no fights. Zhang Duopan probably saw it clearly, and what he had to do at this time was to prevent Bai Weiduo and He Mei Wei from taking a step further, and he had to improve his image and competitiveness in He Mei Wei's eyes. Chapter 3449. In Southeast Asia, there were many formal and luxurious casinos, so Bai Weiduo and He Mei Wei didn't refuse. After all, it was a worthwhile trip. Originally, Bai Weiduo didn't want to go, but he couldn't resist the constant persuasion of the two. If he didn't go, Bai Weiduo couldn't do anything. He couldn't even do anything private with He Mei Wei. These two were stuck in their room like gummies. Anyway, they would bring them here and there every day. They would eat supper and play cards until late at night. They didn't give Bai Weiduo any chance. In fact, Bai Weiduo also understood their intentions and thoughts, but they didn't say it clearly. They had a tacit understanding, and Bai Weiduo couldn't say anything about this kind of thing. Since they followed, this situation was inevitable. Therefore, Bai Weiduo agreed to go to the casino to take a look. Anyway, the benefit was that the expenses were borne by Zhang Duopan. Bai Weiduo was a poor student, and Boss Bai wouldn't give him much pocket money. Therefore, Bai Weiduo was happy to see Zhang Duopan spending the money. Yomiao Casino was a relatively large casino nearby. It was open in the past 10 years, so the decoration was quite luxurious. The 4 took a taxi from the hotel to Yomiao Casino. However, the clothes of the 4 guests looked like tourists, so the waiters quickly received them. The 4 of you are here for a tour. Are you here to play or to satisfy your craving? If you want to satisfy your craving, I suggest you play with the corner machines on the first floor. The waiter introduced enthusiastically. We are here for a tour. However, we don't lack money. Give me more chips, said Zhang Duopan. Okay, no problem, but please show your identification, such as your passport or your local ID card. I want to register your age. According to the regulations, we will be punished if we enter the casino as minors, said the waiter. Oh, so troublesome. Zhang Duopan took out his student ID card. Fortunately, his student ID card was always in his wallet. His passport was in the hotel. Then he said, "The four of us are all classmates. Is it fine to check one?" "That's fine too." The waiter nodded. As long as these people were really adults, there wouldn't be a problem. In fact, there were people checking every day. It was just in case. "Then give us chips." Zhang Duopan took out a credit card. "Yes, sir," the waiter said. The four of them took the exchanged chips and went to play. On the other side, a man in the monitoring room looked at the synchronized registration information on the computer. His eyes suddenly lit up, and then he quickly picked up the phone and dialed a number. "To phone, what's the matter?" A vigorous and forceful voice rang out. "Hello, Faction Master Cohen. I've followed your instructions and kept an eye on the guests from East Ocean City. There are 4 guests today, and one of them is from East Ocean City." Tu Feng was the person in charge of this casino and the backbone of Right Seedling Sect. The Right Meow Sect was a very large local gang, and the Right Meow Casino was naturally the Right Meow Sect's business. The sect leader was called Cohen Cun. In his early years, he was the subordinate of a high priest in the Miaojiang region. He learned some goose spells and evil mental cultivation methods. After the high priest fell from power, he escaped to Southeast Asia and founded the Right Meow Sect. However, one of his disciples, Park Wati, had gone to East Ocean City to train, and there was no news of him after that. After waiting for a long time, Cohen Cun didn't return. Subconsciously, Cohen Cun felt that something must have happened. However, the high priest was killed by the people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, and the Bureau still had Cohen Cun's arrest warrant. Therefore, Cohen Cun didn't dare to return to Huaxian private, afraid that the Bureau would deal with him. But there was no such thing as an airtight wall in this world. Plus, it wasn't like no one knew that Lin Yi had killed Pu Huati, at least in the casino. In the end, the news still reached Cohen Cun's ears. Moreover, he already knew that the person who killed Park Huati was Lin Yi, a student of East Ocean Industry University. Therefore, he asked his people to keep an eye on the guests from East Ocean City, especially the students of East Ocean Industry University. If they saw them, they would immediately capture them and find out more about the situation. If they were acquaintances with Lin Yi, they could lure Lin Yi to Southeast Asia and kill Lin Yi in one fell swoop. "Oh, really? Then, are they in contact with East Ocean Industry University?" Cohen Cun asked immediately. "What a coincidence. That guy named Zhang Duopan is a first-year student of East Ocean Industry University. Maybe he knows the guy named Lin Yi." Tu Feng said, "Okay, go and find out. If they know Lin Yi, capture them immediately." Cohen Cun ordered. "Yes." Tu Feng replied immediately. After hanging up the phone, Tu Feng went straight downstairs. At this time, the waiters and waitresses saw him and greeted him. However, Tu Feng waved his hand and signaled them to be quiet. He followed the surveillance cameras and easily found Zhang Duopan and the other 3 people. "Bet on 32. This 32 will definitely win," Tu Feng said to Zhang Duopan, who was playing roulette. "Really?" Zhang Duopan was stunned when he heard someone talking to him. "Of course, I play here often." Tu Feng smiled. "I think you guys are also from Huaxia, right?" "Me too, hee hee." "Really? I see. Then I'll listen to you this time." Although Zhang Duopan bet 32, he was just playing for fun and didn't know anything about probability. Since someone said so, he would just give them face. Otherwise, he would just bet randomly. However, what Zhang Duopan did not expect was that the final number on the roulette wheel was actually 32. "Haha, what do you think? Am I right?" Tu Feng smiled lightly. "Yes." Zhang Duopan was overjoyed. "Brother, are you the god of gamblers? Why don't you tell me what I should bet on to win the next round? Let me calculate this round." Tu Feng pretended to be mysterious and pondered for a while. Then he said, 27 lines. "Okay, I'll listen to you." 27. Zhang Duopan bet 27, but this time he put in more chips. These things were child's play to Tu Feng. He could make his subordinates in the monitoring room change the data with just a few words. So, whatever he said was the law. The reason why he was so patient with Zhang Duopan was that he didn't want to catch anyone in the casino. Chapter 3450 27, 27, 27. Zhang Duopan didn't expect it to be 27 again, which meant that he won again. He looked at Tu Feng with surprise and said, "Big brother, you're really good. Aren't you invincible in this casino?" "Sure. I'll tell you a secret. I'm actually a consultant in the casino, which is what you call a high-level dealer. I can't gamble." Tu Feng laughed softly. "I saw that you're from the same country, so I talked to you a little more." "I see. Big brother, aren't you very good?" Consultants are usually the best gamblers in the casino. Zhang Duopan had seen a few movies about casinos, so he naturally knew what a consultant was. "It's all right. By the way, where are you from?" Tu Feng pretended to be nonchalant and asked. "I'm currently studying in Donghai City." "Donghai City, have you heard of it?" "It's a capital city in the north," Zhang Duopan said. "Of course I've heard of it. I have a friend there," Tu Feng said. "Friend? Really? What a coincidence. Big brother, what's your friend's name? I might even know him." Zhang Duopan purposely tried to get close to Tu Feng. His purpose was to get some pointers from Tu Feng so that he could enjoy being the god of gamblers. "His name is Lin Yi. He's very good at Kung Fu. Have you heard of him?" Tu Feng said casually. "What? Lin Yi?" Zhang Duopan's eyes widened. However, he thought that it might be the same name. So he asked, "What does this Lin Yi do?" "I know someone, but I'm not sure if it's the same person." "The Lin Yi I know is a first-year student at Donghai Industry University," Tu Feng said. "Oh yeah. Brother, which school are you studying at? Have you heard of it?" "Donghai Industry University? A first-year student?" Zhang Duopan was now completely convinced that this Lin Yi was the Lin Yi he knew. He was surprised and happy. "Big brother, I'm studying at this school. I know the Lin you're talking about. He's my classmate, and we're quite close. Do you see that person over there? Bai Wei Tuo is Lin Yi's little brother. They're roommates." "Oh." Tu Feng's eyes flashed with a hint of joy. It really didn't take any effort at all. Previously, he was still worried that if an ordinary student was kidnapped here, would Lin Yi be forced to come here? Now that this was Lin Yi's dormitory underling, Lin Yi had no choice but to come. Thinking of this, Tu Feng said, "That's really fate. Why don't you all come to my office and have a seat? I have to entertain the friends of my friends. I'll treat you all to a meal and then show you the VIP casino upstairs. It will definitely be an eye-opener for you." "That's great. I'll have to trouble you, big brother. I'll go call them." Zhang Duopan was overjoyed. This was like a pie falling from the sky. He originally hated Lin Yi, but now that he could use Lin Yi's name to eat, drink, and receive VIP treatment, he was naturally happy not to say anything. "Okay, I'll wait for you here." Tu Feng nodded. Therefore, Zhang Duopan quickly walked towards Bai Wei Tuo. Bai Wei Tuo wasn't a gambler. He was just here to see the fun. If he really wanted to gamble, he would just try it out. He didn't play much. There was still a lot of chips left in his hand. When he saw Zhang Duopan walking over, he nodded. "How was it? Did you win?" "Haha, I won a small amount, but I got to know a master," Zhang Duopan said proudly. "He's the consultant of this casino. He's also the highest level dealer. Guess what? He's actually from our side, and he's good friends with Lin Yi. We got to know each other after chatting. He invited us to his office to eat, and then show us the VIP room upstairs." "Ah, there's such a good thing?" Bai Wei Tuo subconsciously thought that it was a scam. Could it be a trap to make them lose money? Don't doubt it. He asked me where I was from, and I said I went to Donghai. He took the initiative to ask me if I knew Lin Yi. I didn't say it at all. Zhang Duopan saw Bai Wei Tuo's hesitation, so he waved his hand and said, "Do you think he's a godly mathematician? How could he know Lin Yi?" "Don't worry, there's definitely no problem." "Is that so?" Bai Wei Tuo listened to Zhang Duopan's explanation, and he was relieved. It wasn't a trap, but they really knew each other. That was great. Bai Wei Tuo also knew that Lin Yi had a wide range of connections. It wasn't surprising that he knew someone here. So, he turned his head and looked at Hime Wei. "Let's go take a look then." Hearing about Lin Imeyue's heart moved, and she nodded in agreement. Since Imeyue agreed, Bai Weiduo didn't have any reason to refuse. So, he followed Zhang Duopan to the casino. At this time, Tu Feng arranged things again, and the waiter beside him also began to greet him. Consultant 2, then I'll go first. A man in a dealer costume greeted Zhang Duopan and the others after they came over. You go first. It doesn't matter that I won some money from a small fight. Our casino is open for business, and it's important to be honest. I can't come out and find trouble with others just because they won some money. This is not in line with the rules. Tu Feng waved his hand and said, Big brother, are you busy? Zhang Duopan walked over and asked. Seeing Zhang Duopan and Bai Weiduo coming over, Tu Feng smiled and explained, It's nothing. A new dealer saw a customer winning millions, so he came to find me. In fact, it's not a big deal. Let's go. I'll bring you upstairs. With the previous dealer's conversation, Bai Weiduo no longer had any doubts. In fact, Tu Feng was really from this casino, but he wasn't a senior consultant. He was just the person in charge. However, it was impossible for a person in charge of a casino to come to the first floor for no reason. It wasn't realistic, so he installed the title of a consultant for himself. Fan Ganha was nearby, and he was caught by Zhang Duopan. They introduced themselves and followed Tu Feng upstairs. Along the way, there were many people who respectfully called Mr. Tuesday. The four of them followed Tu Feng into a high-class, luxurious office. The four of them no longer had any doubts. However, when they entered the office and Tu Feng closed the door, he was suddenly restrained by four black-shirt men in the room. His hands and feet were tied and thrown on the sofa. Chapter 34:51. Bai Weiduo took a deep breath. He'd felt that there was a problem before, but Zhang Duopan said that Tu Feng was the one who brought up Lin Yi, and later things proved that this Tu Feng really was the casino's high-level consultant. But now, it seemed that he'd made a mistake. In other words, this person was from the casino, but his purpose was not pure. I'm just a few poor students. I don't have much money. It's useless even if you kidnap us. Fangana shouted, There's so many big bosses here. Why didn't you kidnap them? Why did you kidnap us? Shut up. Tu Feng glared at Fangana coldly and said, If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for knowing Lin Yi. I have a grudge against Lin Yi. In order to attract him here, I can only use you as bait. Tu Feng didn't need to hide it. Anyway, he had already captured them. What was the point of hiding? Zhang Duopan was stunned. He didn't expect this to be the reason. It turned out that Tu Feng and Lin Yi weren't friends, but enemies. If he had known this earlier, he wouldn't have been so stupid to get close to Tu Feng. He would have quickly drawn a clear line between them. Tu Feng wanted to take revenge on Lin Yi and implicated him. Brother, I lied to you just now. In fact, Lin Yi and I are enemies. If you capture me, Lin Yi will be even happier. He won't come here at all. Zhang Duopan said quickly. Didn't you say that he is Lin Yi's little brother and that he shares the same dorm with Lin Yi? Why, are you two enemies now? Tu Feng sneered. He is indeed Lin Yi's little brother, and we share the same dorm. But I'm not. My relationship with Lin Yi is very bad. I hate him to death. Zhang Duopan said. Do you think I'll believe you? You and Lin Yi are sworn enemies, and he's Lin Yi's underling. Who do you think you're trying to fool? Tu Feng looked at Zhang Duopan mockingly. I'll be honest. Bai Weiduo and I, who is Lin Yi's underling, are both pursuing a girl. That's why we came out together. There's no other relationship. We are actually rivals in love. Zhang Duopan said. Oh, so what? Tu Feng asked. Big brother, you can let me go. You just need to detain that Bai Weiduo. He's the most important. If you detain him, Lin Yi will definitely come. I'm not lying. Zhang Duopan quickly said. And then let you go? Tu Feng asked. That's right. Zhang Duo nodded. Then you'll call the police, and we'll all be doomed, right? Tu Feng said indifferently. How is that possible? How can I call the police? I can't wait for Bai Weiduo to die. Zhang Duopan said. Don't you like this girl? She's also detained. Can you not call the police to save her? Don't you know how to be a hero and save the beauty? Tu Feng asked. Why don't you let her go too? Just detained by Wei Tuo. Zhang Duopan said. I see that she treats Bai Weituo better than you. If I'm not wrong, she and Bai Weituo are now in a relationship, right? If I let her go, was she not saved by Wei Tuo? Tu Feng sneered. All right, don't do such useless things. Just stay here. I won't do anything to you. Our boss's target is Lin Yi. After that, Tu Feng said to the four macho men, lock them in the room. Give them food regularly. Don't worry about them at other times. Yes, Mr. Tu. The four macho men quickly responded. Then each of them grabbed one person and threw Bai Weituo and the other into the room of the office. Bang! The door was locked. Damn, Bai Weituo, it's all because of your boss. Otherwise, how could we be arrested? Zhang Duopan complained in frustration. You're still scolding me? If you didn't show off and say that Boss Lin Yi is your friend, would it be like this? Bai Weituo said angrily. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself. Don't talk about others. All right, stop arguing. The most important thing is not to quarrel. But what should we do? He Meiwei frowned and said, I don't know. Can Lin Yi come to save us? Boss Lin Yi should be able to come, but these people are obviously prepared. I don't know if there will be any danger. Bai Weituo smiled bitterly and said, we really know how to cause trouble. We just came out to play and caused such a big trouble. There's no other way. We can only wait. He Meiwei persuaded, but Lin Yi is so powerful. There should be no problem. I hope so. Bai Weituo sighed. Listening to the conversation between the two, Zhang Duopan and Fan Ganhe were relieved. Fortunately, Bai Weituo was here. Lin Yi would definitely come. When Lin Yi came, they would be useless. He would definitely let them go, but they would be locked up for a while. After Tu Feng left, he went to report to Sect Master Kuan Siyuan. He told Sect Master Kuan that these people were Lin Yi's classmates. Sect Master Kuan was very excited and immediately dialed Lin Yi's phone number. Lin Yi's phone number wasn't secret. He had already inquired about it, but he didn't call it. There was no reason. If he rashly said that he wanted to find trouble and asked Lin Yi to come to Southeast Asia, then Lin Yi couldn't come either. Lin Yi didn't have any problems. If you want to find trouble, do it yourself. Why ask someone to come to your door? How sick are you? Is this Lin Yi? After the phone was dialed, Kuan Siyuan said, That's me. You are? Looking at the unfamiliar number and listening to the unfamiliar voice, Lin Yi didn't know who the other party was. Hee. Let me introduce myself. I'm Southeast Asia's Right Meow Sect Master. My name is Kuan Siyuan. Kuan Siyuan laughed and said, Do you know Puhuati? I wonder if you still remember him? Puhuati. Lin Yi frowned slightly, and his heart skipped a beat. Of course, Lin Yi had an impression of this person. Back then, he was the one who colluded with the hidden Zhao family to trick Qin Shi. He wanted to harm Qin Shi, but Lin Yi killed him. And the owner of this phone, what was he going to do? Lin Yi said calmly, So what if I do? So what if I don't? Puhuati is a disciple of my Right Meow sect. You killed him. Don't you think I, as the sect master, should get back at him? Kuan Siyuan said lightly, Come to Southeast Asia now. I'll wait for you here. You want me to go? I don't have time. Lin Yi thought to himself that this person must have a problem. If you want me to go, I'll go. I still have things to do. If you want to find trouble, do it yourself. If I'm not home, you can wait at my door. That you're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.